Chapter 817. Ning Shu and Li Xinze looked at each other in silence. Li Xinze just looked at him with an inexplicable expression. Ning Shu's eyes flashed. He smiled and said, "You look tired. Do you want to go back and rest? Although work is important, your health is more important." "Are you chasing me away?" Li Xinze said with a blank expression. Ning Shu quickly shook his head. "No, I don't mean that. Don't think too much." "Fuck, what should I say? This is too unreasonable." "Then I'm leaving. Remember to call or text me," Li Xinze said as he reached out to open the car door. Ning Shu opened his mouth and nodded. Okay. He originally wanted to say that he shouldn't disturb Li Xinze since work was so busy. He was afraid that Li Xinze would be angry. Are all couples so lovey-dovey? Do they have so much to say to each other? Sure enough, being alone is the best. Li Xinze reversed the car and drove away. After Li Xinze left, Ning Shu let out a long breath and turned to go upstairs with a breakfast box in his hand. After breakfast, Ning Shu tidied up and prepared to go to class. He saw that Fang Minghan was still sleeping on the bed. Almost everyone in the dormitory had left. "Hey Fang Minghan, it's time for class." Ning Shu called Fang Minghan. Fang Minghan's eyelashes trembled. She woke up and sat up with a hiss. She didn't look good. Fang Minghan had just broken a melon. She didn't feel it yesterday, but today she felt pain all over her body. Ning Shu called her and left. Fang Minghan wanted to ask Ning Shu to help her apply for leave, but she had already left the dormitory. Fang Minghan slowly got up from the bed. Although her body was in pain, she had learned a few songs. Moreover, Yang Yuhui had taught her how to sing these songs. During class, Ning Shu was in a daze most of the time. He was thinking about the next plan in his mind. He looked back at Fang Minghan and Yang Yuhui who were sitting together. After not seeing Yang Yuhui for a while, he felt that Yang Yuhui had become more handsome. It wasn't his face that became more handsome, but his spirit. He raised his head and puffed out his chest, giving people a different feeling. Successful and famous men were the most charming. They had a strong charm. Ning Shu retracted his gaze and took out his phone to send a text to Li Xinze. He told Li Xinze to pay attention to his rest and that he must eat, blah blah blah. Ning Shu didn't know if it was because he didn't have any feelings, but when he looked at his own messages, they were all dry. Forget it. If there's nothing important, it's better not to send messages. After class, Ning Shu immediately returned to the dormitory. He took out his computer from the cupboard, turned it on, and browsed the entertainment news. The Li Family Entertainment Company released a few more songs, and the first song was a classic. Ning Shu listened to it, and it was similar to the songs from the other world. Also, the Li Family's company said that they had filmed a few TV series, and 2 of them were about to finish filming. When the news came out, some people said that the Li family was too arrogant, while others were looking forward to it. There should be a white lady in these 2 dramas. If Ning Shu had to choose, he would have played this drama first. This drama had the largest audience. The immortals, demons, humans, and ghosts inside were very exciting. Using this drama to launch the company's first shot would definitely be very successful. Ning Shu typed on the keyboard and sent an email to the Li family's company, suggesting that they play the drama first. He also explained his reason. The other party replied very quickly, saying that they would accept Ning Shu's suggestion. "Do you know who this person is?" Li Xinze looked at the computer and asked the employee. The employee shook his head. "I don't know. If this kind of talent doesn't stay in the company, it's like cutting off a piece of meat." Li Xinze sighed. "Find a way to meet him, no matter what." Ning Shu was writing novels. He submitted some classic novels to the publishing house, especially Jin Yang's Wuxia novels. They were very popular. As long as these books existed, Yang Yuhui couldn't say that these works were his, and he didn't have the face to say that. Ning Shu searched online for publishing houses, and saw that the Li family's company had entertainment newspapers, so he submitted these manuscripts to them. For example, Jin Yang's novel had been remade into a drama many times. If the novel was published by the Li family's newspaper, the copyright was also in the newspaper. Ning Shu. Other than eating in the cafeteria, Ning Shu spent most of his time in the dormitory, writing his manuscripts. After half a month, Ning Shu felt that his body was hollowed out. If it wasn't for his peerless martial arts, he would probably be like a ghost now. Ning Shu patted his face and looked up with a mask on his face. This flower-like face couldn't be ruined by writing. Fortunately, all the hardships were worth it. Ning Shu compressed and packaged the manuscripts that he had written. He thought about it and came up with a pen name, Jin Yong. If he wrote Jin Yong's book, he would use Jin Yong's pen name. If he wrote Gulong's book, he would use Gulong's pen name. If he wrote Wen Ruian's book, he would use Wen Ruian's name. He just didn't know if Yang Yuhui would be surprised to see these familiar names. The manuscripts sold well, and Ning Shu received an extra sum of money. Plagiarizing other people's works was a fast way to make money. Yang Yuhui relied on these manuscripts to become a person of high status, and was respected by many people. He didn't know if Yang Yuhui felt guilty or not. He didn't spend a single cent plagiarizing other people's works. There will be retribution. Ning Shu chanted Umitba and donated half of the money to the children in the mountainous areas. He kept the remaining half for his own living expenses. When the newspaper was published, Ning Shu bought a copy of the newspaper and magazine to read. Looking at Jin Yong's pen name, he decided to give Yang Yuhui a surprise. Jin Yong used the method of serializing Wuxia novels to increase the newspaper's sales. Wuxia novels were very popular, and Yang Yuhui didn't read these useless newspapers. He would rather use the time to write a script. It was more valuable. When he heard his roommates discussing who was prettier, Mu Nianxi or Huang Rong, Yang Yuhui's heart skipped a beat. He snatched the newspaper from his roommate's hand. When he saw the pen name Jin Yong, Yang Yuhui felt like he was punched in the heart. His mind went blank for a moment, and his body went soft. The hand holding the newspaper trembled. Jin Yong. Yang Yuhui's eyes were bloodshot as he stared at the two words. Could there be a Jin Yong in this world? Yang Yuhui was very frustrated. These wuxia novels were what Yang Yuhui cared about. Most importantly, Jin Yong's novels had been remade into TV series many times. The Condor Slayers had been remade many times. He had one less weapon in his hands, and one less opportunity to start a new genre. Yang Yuhui hatefully stomped the newspaper on the ground, and stomped on it with all his might. Was there really a Jin Yong, or were there other people who had been reborn? There were too many doubts in Yang Yuhui's heart. He couldn't find an answer no matter how hard he thought, and it made him very anxious. Why couldn't anything go according to his wishes? The Li Family Company released a few more songs, and as expected, they were classics from the other world. Chapter 8:18. The songs released by the Li Family's company made Yang Yuhui's liver ache. These classic songs were released one after another. Good cabbages were eaten by pigs. These songs could have created more value. Seeing the Li Family's company making money crazily, and thinking of Li Xin's high and mighty attitude, Yang Yuhui felt extremely depressed. Could it be that the Li Family's company also had a reincarnated person? The other party took out all the things that he had hidden, afraid that he would be slower. Yang Yuhui suspected that the person also had a search system. Otherwise, how could he write so many things? A person's memory was limited. Yang Yuhui did not dare to say that he could remember these things. If the system was not unique, then what was the use of this golden finger? Yang Yuhui crushed the newspaper with his foot, his expression sinister. Why are you stepping on my newspaper? Are you crazy? The roommate pushed Yang Yuhui away, pointed at him and scolded. Let me tell you, I've tolerated you for a long time. You really think you're a big shot. The roommate pushed Yang Yuhui as he said that, and Yang Yuhui was pushed back a few steps. Yang Yuhui's expression was very unfriendly. It's just a newspaper. I'll compensate you with 100 copies. Bastard. The roommate punched Yang Yuhui in the mouth. Yang Yuhui was already angry. Recently, he had been highly praised by others, and now he was hit like this. Suddenly, he felt that he had offended him by hitting him. Who do you think you are? The two of them started to fight. There were others who tried to stop them, but more of them were watching from the sidelines. Some even fanned the flames to make Yang Yuhui take 2 more punches. Recently, Yang Yuhui had been too annoying. He was always high and mighty. Mortals, come and worship me. The things in his computer were missing, And he was still angry at others, insisting that others touched his computer. Didn't he just write a few popular lyrics? It was as if he wanted to go to heaven. In the end, the two of them were separated. Yang Yuhui glanced at the people in the dormitory. He wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth, snorted, and turned to leave. After such an unpleasant incident with the people in the dormitory, Yang Yuhui decided to move out and find a small apartment to stay in. He had money in his hands now, and did not want to squeeze in the same dormitory with these people. Yang Yuhui moved out on the same day. No one in the dormitory tried to persuade him to stay. They used his bed as a pile of junk. Ningxu continued to write manuscripts every day. He wrote a little for each book. He wrote a little for Jin Yong, a little for Gulong, and a little for the others. He wrote a little for the newspapers and magazines. Yang Yuhui could not use these manuscripts, and there was one less way to make money. Even if it was written, people wouldn't think it was original. Ningxu was busy when Li Xinze called. Ningxu said, "There will be a new TV series produced by my company tonight. It will definitely be good. The website will be updated later, so it will be broadcasted on the satellite channel first. Remember to watch it. I filmed this TV series. Give me a like after you watch it," Li Xinze said. Ningxu resisted the urge to spit at Li Xinze. Li Xinze was at most an assistant. Ningxu would never believe that he was the one who filmed this TV series. Li Xinze's job was to manage a company, not film or TV series. Ningxu swallowed a mouthful of saliva and said with difficulty, "You're really good. I will wait to watch it tonight." Yes, it will be the holidays soon. The company has a few very good scripts. Come over and I will arrange a role for you, Li Xinze said. Haven't you always wanted to act? Come over and play a small role to hone your acting skills. Ningxu was speechless. So now she was going to be an actress. If she had the time to play a small role, she might as well write more. The more things that were exposed, the less things that Yang Yuhui could use. Ningxu thought about it and said, "I want to go home during the holidays. This is a rare opportunity. Don't go back. The script is very good. It will definitely be popular. It will be good to show your face in front of the audience," Li Xinze said. "Didn't you say you wanted to act? You can't miss such a good opportunity. What's wrong with you?" Li Xinze's voice sounded unhappy. "You can't even grasp such a good opportunity. Don't be stubborn." Ningxu immediately said, "I was wrong. I won't go back. I will go during the holidays." "If you don't want to come, I won't force you," Li Xinze said. Ningxu, he was angry again. Ningxu couldn't help but scratch his head. Fuck, he was so hard to please. "I am very happy to go. Thank you for giving me this opportunity." "I can't thank you enough," Ningxu said happily. "Remember to come." Li Xinze hung up the phone. Ningxu looked at his phone. He was really tired. Ningxu gulped down a large glass of water and sat down to type. Ningxu was now racking his brains to write the song. When he packaged it and sent it to the Li family's company, he left a message for them to prepare a case and register a commercial account. This way, the song would belong to the company and it would be illegal for anyone else to release it. When the time came, he could win the lawsuit. Where would these songs be stored? He could take his time to write them. Ningxu was mainly guarding against Yang Yuhui. Other than writing songs, he wrote manuscripts. He wrote Jin Yong's and Gulong's novels and submitted them to the newspaper. At night, Ningxu waited to see what the Li family's company's TV series was like. However, the TV series was broadcast later than the TV channels. Ningxu stayed up until 11 p.m. to watch the TV series. It was by Sujin, who was in love with a monster. Ningxu watched it carefully. The quality was much better than in the other world. The special effects were also very well done. Ningxu was fascinated by it. A group of roommates gathered behind him. After watching 2 episodes, Ningxu was still a little unsatisfied. "It's so good. Why is there no more?" One of the roommates held his neck and sang, "By Sujin at the foot of Qingqing Mountain, cultivated for 1,000 years in the cave." Ah! The roommate's voice was not pleasant. It made everyone in the dormitory laugh. "Chunjianan, this seems to be a TV series produced by your boyfriend's company. Ask him when it's broadcast every day. Fuck, my heart is itching. Anyway, it's only 2 episodes a day, Ningxu said. Ningxu sent a message to Li Xinze. He said that the TV series was very good and praised Li Xinze. This TV series was very popular in the other world. Once the summer vacation came, it would start airing. Looking at the anxious looks of his roommates, he could imagine how much money and fame it would bring to Yang Yuhui if this TV series was written and filmed by Yang Yuhui. Ningxu turned off the computer, climbed into bed and began to cultivate. He began to think about what to do next. She would not send any more songs or manuscripts to the Li family's company. Now that the Li family's company had a lot of good things in their hands, they would succeed and become a target of public criticism. The Li family was eating meat in big mouthfuls, and the others did not even have a mouthful of soup. It would be easy for something to happen. Everyone was not having a good time. If you were not doing well, it would be better for everyone. Chapter 819. The scripts and lyrics of the Li family's company were all of high quality. They were all classics from that world. If he was too outstanding, there would be big problems. Everyone had to earn money together. Except for the Li family's enemies, Ningxu planned to write for all the other companies. After making the plan, Ningxu sighed and sat on the bed to cultivate. The next day, he was full of energy and went back to work. Ningxu wrote a few songs to several companies. He didn't know them, so he asked for 4 times the amount from the Li family's company. It was 4,000 yuan per song. Some of the lyrics were marked with the original composer's name. Anyway, he just wanted to expose these things in advance. However, writing a script was too tiring. Ningxu felt that he couldn't bear it anymore. There was still a gap between him and Yang Yuhui, who had a search system. Ningxu wrote as many songs as he could. He wrote almost all the songs that Yang Yuhui had written in the script and wrote them all. After working for a while, Ningxu felt that his body was hollowed out. Damn, now I feel like vomiting when I see the computer. I feel dizzy when I see the document. After writing the songs, Ningxu started to write the script. Ningxu wanted to hack into Yang Yuhui's computer, but he found that the IP address was wrong. He couldn't hack into Yang Yuhui's computer. Ningxu looked at Feng Minghan and asked, "Why don't you go out with Yang Yuhui? It's the weekend today." Feng Minghan looked at Ningxu and said indifferently, "Why are you so concerned about me and senior brother?" Feng Minghan's face suddenly became serious. She looked at Ningxu with vigilance. "You started to pay attention to senior brother Yang Yuhui?" "I'm just saying. Why are you so nervous?" Ningxu said indifferently. Feng Minghan said proudly, "Senior brother said that he has something important to do. I won't disturb him." Feng Minghan said, and started to dress up. Obviously, she was going out. Senior brother has his own house now. He doesn't live in the school anymore. Feng Minghan said proudly. He was still a student, but he could already buy a house. His future was limitless. Ningxu's eyes flashed. No wonder he couldn't hack into Yang Yuhui's computer. It turned out that he had moved. Feng Minghan cleaned herself up and left. Ningxu continued to write the script. Now that he did not know Yang Yuhui's situation, he could only speed up. When Yang Yuhui saw the TV series produced by the Li family company, he would definitely quicken his pace. Both sides were competing. They wanted to take the initiative in the interview in advance. Ningxu rubbed his forehead and continued writing the script. He didn't know if the Yang Yuhui he wrote had been sold. However, after successfully selling 2 movies, the summer vacation came, and she had to play a small role. Li Xinze drove downstairs to pick up Ningxu. Ningxu freshened up and went downstairs. "What happened to you?" Li Xinze blinked. Ningxu touched his face. "What's wrong?" His face is pale, and there are dark circles under his eyes. He looked like a boy who had masturbated too much and was listless. "Don't be addicted to the internet anymore." Li Xinze rubbed his forehead. He couldn't bear to look at him. Ningxu, his face was ruined. It seemed that he had to stop for a while and work on other aspects. He really didn't want his face to be ruined. "Why don't you stay at my house during the filming? The other students have all packed up and left," Li Xinze said. Ningxu waved his hand and said, "It's okay. I will stay in the dormitory." Filming is very busy, and you still have to rush to the dormitory. That's too hard, Li Xinzi said. Ningxu shook his head. No need. What was the point of staying at Li Xinzi's house like this? He was a man after all. If Li Xinzi and Chen Jianan wanted to have a good ending, they couldn't be so casual. Li Xinzi didn't say anything when Ningxu rejected him. When will the filming start? I need to get ready. Ningxu asked. He had to work on his face. I will come and pick you up tomorrow. Let's go eat now, Li Xinzi said. We haven't eaten together in a long time. Ningxu nodded and got into the car. Let's eat Chinese food this time, Ningxu suggested. Okay, I'll listen to you. Li Xinzi took Ningxu to a Chinese restaurant and ordered some home-cooked dishes. Li Xinzi didn't eat. He watched Ningxu eat alone. Ningxu couldn't eat under Li Xinzi's gaze. He asked, Why aren't you eating? You didn't like eating mapo tofu before, Li Xinzi said. Ningxu. They were indeed lovers. They even knew each other's tastes and habits. Damn. Ningxu didn't know how to eat now. Ningxu picked up the knife beans that the original owner liked and said, Sometimes you have to change your taste. Li Xinzi hummed in acknowledgement and continued to eat slowly. Ningxu let out a long breath in his heart. He felt that he should have less contact with Li Xinzi. They were not the same person. Everyone had their own unique habits. No one was the same leaf, and no one was the same. After eating, Li Xinzi was going to send Ningxu back. Ningxu knew that Li Xinzi was busy at the company, so he asked him to go back. Ningxu went to the pharmacy to buy some herbs. He took it back to the dormitory and ground it into powder. He made a urine powder and put it on his face. Recently he had been ruining his face. Since he was going to act, it was better to have good skin for makeup. When his skin was a little tight, Ningxu washed the urine powder off his face. After washing it off, his skin was much smoother and more rosy. Since coming to this world, Ningxu hadn't slept well. After washing the mask on his face, he lay on the bed and slept. Besides, he still had to play an extra tomorrow. Ningxu slept very soundly. When he opened his eyes, he saw a face. Fuck. Ningxu was shocked. With a wooden face, he asked Li Xinzi, How did you come up? This was the girls' dormitory. He actually came up. I came to pick you up to the set. The iron door was not closed, so I came up. Li Xinzi said. Ningxu stretched, climbed down from the bed and washed up. Li Xinzi sat on the bed and waited. When he saw Ningxu coming out of the bathroom, he nodded and said, You look much better today. Don't always be addicted to the internet. I know. Ningxu nodded. Ningxu really didn't know how to get along with Li Xinzi. Because she was not Chen Jianan, she might give herself away at any time. When Ningxu was a wife, her husband was a scumbag. He didn't care about the client at all. No matter what the client became, they didn't care. But now this couple was in love. They were connected and cared about each other's every move. Having a boyfriend was tiring. Let's go. Li Xinzi reached out and held Ningxu's hand. Ningxu wanted to shake off his hand, but she resisted. Li Xinzi's palm was hot, which made Ningxu feel very uncomfortable. She couldn't tolerate someone she didn't like. Chapter 820. Li Xinzi drove to the set and asked the director to arrange a role for Ningxu. The director sized up Ningxu and gave Ningxu the role of a maid, but she was killed in 2 episodes. Do your best, Li Xinzi said to Ningxu. Ningxu nodded and was called to do her makeup. As a maid, she had to flatter and be humble. Ningxu had been a maid before, serving Gige in the 4th master's backyard. But it was Ningxu's first time acting. After a few NGs, things went much smoother. Lunch was a box of lunchboxes. The taste was not good. Ningxu finished them all. Then, she waited at the side for her scenes and pondered over her lines. How do you feel today? Li Xinzi asked Ningxu in the afternoon. I'm fine, Ningxu said. Why are you here? I'm here to check on the progress, Li Xinzi said. Have you eaten? Has work been hard? Ningxu said. You should rest when you need to. Li Xinzi looked at Ningxu. Why are you so polite? Ningxu. Degree? Damn it. She felt that everything she said was wrong. Everything she did was wrong. I am concerned about you, Ning Shu said sincerely. You don't have to be like this, Li Xinzi said calmly. The two of them fell silent. Ning Shu sighed. What should she say next? Ning Shu felt that she didn't have anything to talk about with Li Xinzi. The atmosphere was a little awkward. Li Xinzi turned to ask the director about the progress of the shoot. Sigh. Ning Shu felt helpless. She didn't love Li Xinzi. Her actions didn't show love. It didn't mean that they were in love just because they pretended to be in love. If this continued, the people who supported each other in the plot wouldn't be separated, right? It seemed that she had to speed up and leave after completing the mission. She had to ask if the client had someone in love for the next mission. Chen Jianan. The stage supervisor called Ning Shu over to start filming. Li Xinzi wanted to talk to Ning Shu before leaving, but Ning Shu was called away, so he could only leave first. Ning Shu glanced at Li Xinzi from the corner of his eyes and couldn't help but sigh. So melancholy. I really want to leave this world. When dealing with scumbags, Ning Shu would not be merciful. However, when it came to Li Xinzi's situation, Ning Shu felt a little numb. After filming for the day, Ning Shu called Li Xinzi and told him that he was going back to the dormitory. Li Xinzi asked Ning Shu to wait for him, saying that he was coming to send Ning Shu off. Ning Shu was waiting for Li Xinzi on set. Li Xinzi drove to the set. Li Xinzi drove a silver car, which was very eye-catching. Li Xinzi got out of the car handsomely and walked straight towards Ning Shu. Ning Shu instantly felt that a lot of eyes were focused on her. Their eyes were filled with doubt, envy, jealousy, disdain. During filming, Ning Shu felt that the opponent was deliberately making things difficult for her and didn't like her. Li Xinzi probably had something to do with it. Let's go back, Li Xinzi said to Ning Shu. Ning Shu got into the car and turned to look at Li Xinzi driving. His fingers were slender and white, and his side profile was handsome and bright. He was a charming man, and now that he was in society, he was very dazzling. Ning Shu only had one thought in his mind, and that was to finish the task quickly and leave. Ning Shu could feel that Li Xinzi was suspecting him. When they reached the dormitory, Ning Shu opened the car door. Li Xinzi also got out of the car and walked in front of Ning Shu, putting his hand on Ning Shu's shoulder. Li Xinzi lowered his head and looked at Ning Shu, his head getting lower and lower. Ning Shu's body stiffened, and goosebumps appeared all over. Fuck, is he going to kiss me? Looking at the face that was getting closer and closer, Li Xinzi's hot breath was on her face. Ning Shu's face twitched and he hurriedly said, You have something on your head. Li Xinzi paused, and he just looked at Ning Shu. Ning Shu raised his hand and patted Li Xinzi's head. He laughed and said, There's some dust on your head. Li Xinzi pursed his lips and said, Go up and have a good rest. You still have a scene tomorrow. Ning Shu's heart was scratching, and he felt more and more numb. He wanted to explain. That? You go up, Li Xinzi said. Ning Shu couldn't help but scratch the back of his head, and he looked at Li Xinzi. Then I'll go up. You have to have a good rest too. Li Xinzi sighed. Hearing Li Xinzi's sigh, Ning Shu couldn't help but sigh as well. Li Xinzi speechlessly looked at Ning Shu, and finally laughed. Why are you so awkward recently? It's like you're a different person. Ning Shu didn't say anything. Then I'll go up. You go first, I'll watch you leave, Ning Shu said. Li Xinzi got into the car, reversed, and left. When Li Xinzi's car was out of sight, Ning Shu turned around and went up to the dormitory. First he took a shower, and then he took out his computer from the cabinet. He browsed the entertainment news and found a few familiar songs. It was obviously new songs written by Yang Yuhui. Ning Shu opened the school forum, and there were all kinds of posts. Ning Shu browsed through these posts, and he saw Yang Yuhui's name. His nickname in the forum was Yang Yuhui Deity. TSK, there seems to be someone who would impersonate you. Ning Shu checked the IP address of this nickname, and according to this IP address he hacked into Yang Yuhui's computer. Yang Yuhui's computer had a lot of things, a lot of scripts and songs. Ning Shu didn't even think about it, and hacked Yang Yuhui's computer. After getting the script, Ning Shu compressed it and sent it out. Now Yang Yuhui already had a bit of fame. On the internet, he was a new lyricist and scriptwriter. Looking at the long list of glory, Ning Shu curled his lips. Using other people's things to gain glory, How big of a heart do you have to be to say that these things are yours? Ning Shu submitted the script to various companies, and soon they replied. They discussed the price with Ning Shu. The other party gave a high price and Ning Shu agreed. Ning Shu donated half of the money he received. After doing these things, Ning Shu took out the urong powder from the cabinet, made it into a facial mask and put it on his face. After finishing, Ning Shu lay on the bed and slept happily. Ning Shu was in a good mood, but Yang Yuhui was so angry that he wanted to tear down the house. The things in his computer disappeared again. How could this be? Yang Yuhui didn't care how expensive the computer was, and directly smashed it. Most importantly, why were things always so bad for him? When he went to buy the script, he was told that the company already had the script. Yang Yuhui had the mentality of waiting for the best price. And when he sold the script, many companies submitted it, and he would sell it to the company that gave the highest price. Yang Yuhui now wanted to quickly get enough capital, and then use the money to prepare a work that would become an instant hit. But as time passed, Yang Yuhui found that his advantage was getting smaller and smaller, because more and more things appeared in that world. Chapter 8:21. Until now, Yang Yuhui still didn't know who the reincarnated person was. More and more works were exposed, and a lot of good works were ruined. Yang Yuhui had no choice but to hand over all his works. He wanted to win the competition. Every time Yang Yuhui saw the songs and TV series of Li Xin's company, his heart was bleeding. These were all classics. Yang Yuhui really wanted to find the guy who hit his head and showed his tail, but there was no trace of him. The things in his manuscript were stolen. He suspected that it was his roommate in the dormitory, but now that he moved out, the manuscript was still lost. Senior brother, what happened to you? Fang Menghan opened the door and saw the broken computer on the ground. She was stunned. When she saw Yang Yuhui's red eyes, Fang Menghan's heart skipped a beat. It was the first time Fang Menghan saw such a scary Yang Yuhui. She wanted to run away, but she endured it. Yang Yuhui sat on the sofa and didn't move. Fang Menghan poured a glass of water for Yang Yuhui and asked softly, "Senior brother, what happened?" Yang Yuhui stared at Fang Menghan without blinking. Fang Menghan was frightened by the suspicion in Yang Yuhui's eyes. She whispered, "Senior brother, did you touch my computer?" Yang Yuhui asked. Thinking about it, only Fang Menghan had a house in this house. They were now boyfriend and girlfriend, but they weren't. They were more like bed partners. Fang Menghan also benefited. Yang Yuhui personally selected a song suitable for Fang Menghan from the search system. "I didn't touch your computer really." Fang Menghan quickly proved her innocence. "You said that there was something important in your computer, so I didn't dare to touch it." Yang Yuhui frowned tightly. Seeing Fang Menghan's nervous and aggrieved look, and her beautiful nose was sweating, Yang Yuhui's heart softened. Yang Yuhui boasted that he was a person who cared about women. Although he was suspicious, he didn't hit Fang Menghan. "Give me the key. I have to go out for a while. This house is empty," Yang Yuhui said. Fang Menghan was stunned for a moment before she asked with some agitation, "Senior brother, did I do something wrong? Why are you chasing me away?" The key to the house was given to her by Yang Yuhui. The house was well renovated and comfortable to live in. Now that he wanted the key back, did Yang Yuhui want to break up with her? Or was he suspecting that she had touched his computer? Fang Menghan quickly said, "Senior brother, I really didn't touch your computer." Yang Yuhui cared a lot about his computer. She didn't even have the chance to touch his computer. Fang Menghan felt wronged. She felt that Yang Yuhui was venting his anger on her. This man was really heartless. She took care of him in this house, washing his clothes, cooking for him, and taking care of him. Fang Menghan bit her lips and stubbornly handed the keys to Yang Yuhui. She was also a little angry that such a beautiful person like her was with Yang Yuhui. She had been together with Yang Yuhui before he had achieved success. She did not despise him. Now that he had some achievements, he wanted to abandon her? Fang Menghan forced a smile and reluctantly said, "Then I'm leaving. Take good care of yourself." Yang Yuhui's lips moved twice. In the end, he had no intention of keeping Fang Menghan. Recently, he had been pestered by a delinquent girl. This delinquent girl said that she was his fan and insisted that he give her an autograph. She even brought a group of delinquents to ask for autographs. Yang Yuhui didn't know whether to laugh or cry. There was also the beautiful president whose company was about to collapse. Yang Yuhui had written a script for her. It would definitely bring her company back to life. Now that he had met more and more women, he didn't care about Fang Minghan as much. If Fang Minghan could stay by his side forever, he would definitely treat her well. After all, Fang Minghan was his first woman. But he was in a bad mood now. So many manuscripts were missing. It was very manly of him to not strangle her neck. Fang Minghan could only take her bag and leave. She went back to the school dormitory. When Fang Minghan returned to the dormitory, she saw Ningshu applying a facial mask. She peeked at Ningshu's computer. It seemed that he was playing a new drama called The Legend of the White Snake. Fang Minghan remembered that when this drama was first released, Yang Yuhui was very angry. She asked him what was wrong, but Yang Yuhui didn't answer. He just stared at the TV as if he wanted to bore a hole through it. Fang Minghan felt that Yang Yuhui was a little abnormal recently. His face was gloomy all day long, and he didn't look as handsome as before. He looked as if he had a deep hatred. When Ningshu saw Fang Minghan, he was a little surprised and said, "School hasn't started yet. Why are you back?" Fang Minghan rolled her eyes. She didn't go home at all. She stayed with Yang Yuhui. But now, she was inexplicably kicked out of the house. Ningshu saw that Fang Minghan was depressed. She looked like she was abandoned. Did she break up with Yang Yuhui? Ningshu washed the makeup off her face and looked at herself in the mirror. Her face was fair and rosy, and her skin was bouncy. He looked really beautiful. Fang Minghan saw Ningshu coming out of the bathroom. His skin was so good that Fang Minghan's eyes were fixed on him. She couldn't help but ask, "What facial mask are you using?" "Li Xinza gave it to me." Ningshu smiled. Fang Minghan rolled her eyes. "Why are you showing off your love?" Thinking that Yang Yuhui kicked her out, she was in no mood to ask Ningshu what facial mask he was using. Only Fang Minghan and Ningshu were in the dormitory. The two of them were silent. Ningshu pulled the curtain and sat cross-legged on the bed to cultivate for a while. Then, he lay down on the bed and fell asleep. The next morning, Li Xinza arrived at the dormitory. When he saw that there was one more person in the dormitory, he was a little embarrassed. Fang Minghan saw Li Xinza in a shirt and suit. She had to admit that Li Xinza was better looking than Yang Yuhui. In addition, he was working now. He was even more charming. Ningshu got up from the bed and washed up. He said to Li Xinza, "Let's go." Fang Minghan hurriedly got up from the bed and asked Li Xinza, "Where are you going in the morning?" Ningshu was speechless. "It's none of your business." Li Xinza said, "Jianan is filming now. I'm sending her to the set." Fang Minghan smiled and said quickly, "Senior, can you help me get a small role? I'm so free before school starts." Li Xinza didn't say anything. He glanced at Ningshu and suddenly said, "Okay, let's go together." Ningshu was speechless. "Jianan, she's your roommate. You can take care of each other if we go together. Are you okay with that?" Li Xinza asked Ningshu. Ningshu was speechless. What's going on now? Ningshu thought about it, and finally raised his chin. "I don't agree." Li Xinza raised his eyebrows. Why? Something is wrong. I don't know if he's trying to make me jealous, or he's really changing his mind. Anyway, I can't let them have anything to do with each other. Chapter 822. Ningshu really wanted to punch the ground. It was really hard to guess what a man was thinking. Fang Minghan asked for a role without any hesitation. She even asked for a role from someone else's boyfriend, and her boyfriend even agreed. She might be poached by someone else. Ningshu was good at destroying other people's relationships, not maintaining a relationship. Relationships were fragile. It was easy to destroy them, but hard to maintain them. A small matter could make a relationship disappear. Before she left, she couldn't let Chen Jianan and Li Xinza break up. "There are no extras on set," Ningshu said with a straight face. Fang Minghan couldn't help but say, "Even if there are extras, there are still extras. How can there be no extras? Ningxu rolled his eyes. There aren't any. Li Xinze curled his lips and said to Fang Menghan, this movie is being filmed in a big house, so there aren't many extras. I will inform you if there are any roles in the future, Li Xinze said to Fang Menghan. Fang Menghan's face suddenly turned ugly. She glanced at Ningxu, went into the bathroom, and closed the door. Ningxu and Li Xinze went downstairs. Li Xinze said, she is your roommate. Won't it be difficult for you to get along with her in the future? Ningxu said expressionlessly, even if she wants a role, she should tell me first. Then I will tell you. Why did she ask my boyfriend for a role directly? Either she doesn't understand relationships, or she has other intentions. Why did she ask you before me? Li Xinze nodded and drove Ningxu to the set. Today Ningxu only finished one scene. After Ningxu finished filming, he planned to go back. When he passed by a set, he saw Yang Yuhui there. Ningxu walked over to take a look. What kind of show was this? This should be the script written by Yang Yuhui. It was a period drama. Yang Yuhui was talking to the director. He didn't know what he said, but the director didn't look very happy. Yang Yuhui didn't look happy either. Yang Yuhui was speechless. A good script had been shot in such a way. This script was definitely going to be a success, but it had been shot in such a way and the costumes were not exquisite. It was a complete waste of the script. He still wanted to use this script to earn more money. He said a few words to the director, but the director didn't listen. If it weren't for the fact that he didn't have enough capital, he would have filmed such a drama himself. No wonder the entertainment industry in this world is such a mess. Yang Yuhui sighed helplessly in his heart. Ningxu saw that Yang Yuhui's face was shrouded in gloom. He guessed that things weren't going well recently. Many good things no longer belonged to Yang Yuhui. Yang Yuhui turned around and saw Ningxu with an indifferent expression. Seeing this woman, Yang Yuhui felt uncomfortable in his heart. This woman was the beginning of his failure. Once he failed on her, it started a series of failures. Why are you here? Yang Yuhui said to Ningxu snappily. Ningxu smiled. I'm filming on another set. Yang Yuhui saw Ningxu's smile, and felt even more uncomfortable. It evoked an unparalleled hostility in Yang Yuhui's heart. Yes, it was hostility. Yang Yuhui used to think that this woman was annoying. She was a green tea bitch who loved vanity. Now he felt very uncomfortable. With a strong sense of hostility, Yang Yuhui didn't know where this hostility came from. Yang Yuhui and Ningxu brushed past each other. He frowned and turned around to ask Ningxu, has Fang Menghan returned to the dormitory? Ningxu was a little surprised. Why did he ask her about this kind of thing? He could have just called her and asked. She has gone back. Yang Yuhui turned around and left. It was really inexplicable. Ningxu hailed a taxi and went back to the dormitory. Yang Yuhui left the set and took out his phone to call Fang Menghan. When Fang Menghan saw that Yang Yuhui was calling her, she was very happy and quickly asked, Senior, what's the matter? Yang Yuhui asked Fang Menghan, Chen Jianan, who is in the same dormitory as you. Why are you asking about her? Are you going to confess to her? Fang Menghan was suddenly angry and said unhappily. Could it be that he still hadn't given up on Chen Jianan? Chen Jianan was really amazing. She had a rich second-generation boyfriend, and still made Senior pay attention to her. I'm just asking if there's anything unusual about Chen Jianan. Yang Yuhui was very uncomfortable in his heart. Yang Yuhui couldn't tell where this feeling came from. It was a kind of frightening feeling. It was as if a big stone suddenly appeared in front of him when he was walking. If he didn't move the stone away, he couldn't move forward. Fang Menghan was even more unhappy when she heard Yang Yuhui's words. She said perfunctorily, There's nothing unusual. She's just with her boyfriend every day. Yang Yuhui, of course, could tell that Fang Menghan was being perfunctory. He said in a low and serious voice, I'm asking you if there's anything unusual about her. Or if she suddenly has a lot of money? No, there's nothing unusual, Fang Menghan said coldly. This is very important. Tell me about it. Fang Menghan was even more uncomfortable in her heart. She was still thinking about Chen Jianan. If you don't want to say it, then forget it. Yang Yuhui was annoyed by Fang Menghan's ignorance, and was about to hang up the phone. Fang Minghan had been with Yang Yuhui for a while. She knew that Yang Yuhui was angry. She quickly said, "There's really nothing strange about her. Does being online count?" "She stays in the dormitory and surfs the internet all day long," Fang Minghan said. "Does she type every day?" Yang Yuhui asked. Fang Minghan rolled her eyes. "Seems like it." Yang Yuhui narrowed his eyes and hung up the phone. He guessed that Chen Jianan might be a reborn person. Fang Minghan still wanted to say something, but the phone was busy. Fang Minghan was so angry that she stomped her feet. Her face was full of disgust. This Chen Jianan was really like a ghost. Both of them were campus belles. Two tigers couldn't live on the same mountain. Their relationship wasn't good. It was full of competition. As soon as Ning Shu returned to the dormitory, she was faced with Fang Minghan's resentful face. Fang Minghan looked at Ning Shu with resentment. Ning Shu was speechless. She wasn't angry at Fang Minghan's behavior in the morning, but now she was throwing a tantrum. She was really speechless. "Chen Jianan, can you be a little more restrained? You have a boyfriend, but you still want to seduce someone else's boyfriend." Fang Minghan said angrily, "You're a green tea bitch." Ning Shu looked at Fang Minghan dumbfounded. "Who's the green tea bitch? You asked Li Xinza for a role this morning. What do you mean? I think you're the one who wants to seduce Li Xinza." "When did I seduce Li Xinza? You just seduced my senior, and he called to ask about you. Don't tell me you don't interact with him in private? You're crazy. When did I have anything to do with your senior? You're accusing me for no reason. What did he say?" Chapter 823. Ning Shu felt a little uneasy. Since when did Yang Yuhui start to pay attention to her? He even called to ask about her. Did Yang Yuhui discover something? "There's nothing between Yang Yuhui and me. Are you crazy?" Ning Shu said sarcastically. "What did Yang Yuhui ask you? Why are you acting like this?" Fang Minghan took a deep breath and raised her hand to slap Ning Shu. Ning Shu grabbed Fang Minghan's wrist, raised her hand and slapped Fang Minghan. "If you touch me again, I'll hit you again." Ning Shu sat on the table. Fang Minghan covered her face and took a deep breath. She said fiercely, "Chen Jianan, I won't let you off. Senior is my boyfriend. If you have any shame, don't pester my senior." Ning Shu looked at Fang Minghan's agitated expression indifferently. There was nothing between her and Yang Yuhui. But Fang Minghan was so agitated. In the storyline, Yang Yuhui had so many women. How did Fang Minghan endure it? However, Yang Yuhui was already famous. There were benefits to being with Yang Yuhui, so she endured it. "What did Yang Yuhui say to you?" Ning Shu asked. Fang Minghan was slapped by Ning Shu, so she was angry. She was unwilling to answer Ning Shu's question. "Then I'll call Yang Yuhui myself," Ning Shu said and took out her phone. "Don't call him. He just asked me if there's anything unusual about you recently," Fang Minghan said quickly. Ning Shu frowned. Yang Yuhui suspected her. In that case, she had to be more careful. She had to carry pepper spray with her. "What did you say?" Ning Shu looked at Fang Minghan coldly. "What did you say to Yang Yuhui?" Ning Shu approached Fang Minghan with a strong aura. Fang Minghan took 2 steps back and stammered, You, what do you want?" Fang Minghan covered her face, afraid that Ning Shu would slap her face again. "I asked you, how did you answer Yang Yuhui?" Ning Shu asked. "I told you that you love to surf the internet." Fang Minghan pushed Ning Shu away. Ning Shu rolled his eyes. She didn't even approach Yang Yuhui. She didn't have much interaction with Yang Yuhui. They were all hiding in the dormitory and playing tricks, so Yang Yuhui suspected her. He really couldn't figure it out. The next day, Ning Shu prepared to go out of school to buy some breakfast. Because school hadn't started yet, the cafeteria wasn't open yet. Ning Shu met Yang Yuhui at the school gate. He saw that Yang Yuhui seemed to be waiting for him here. Ning Shu's eyes narrowed. He pretended not to see him and left. Yang Yuhui reached out to stop Ning Shu. Ning Shu looked at Yang Yuhui expressionlessly. "What are you doing?" "Chen Jianan, let's talk." Yang Yuhui's eyes kept sweeping over Ning Shu's face. Ning Shu was a little impatient. "What do I have to talk to you about? I don't know you well." Then I'll get straight to the point. Are you here to sell songs and scripts? Ning Shu was puzzled. I'm an actor. I don't know how to write songs and scripts. Yang Yuhui took a deep breath. Are you reborn? What rebirth? You've been reading too many fantasy novels. Ning Shu rolled his eyes. Is it so easy to be reborn? Can anyone be reborn? Why are you looking for me? Ning Shu was even more impatient. Yang Yuhui, can you stop bothering me? I already have a boyfriend. I have nothing to do with you. I can't accept you. Yang Yuhui looked at Ning Shu's arrogant face and heard Ning Shu's words. He was simply disgusted. Why didn't he take a look at himself? How could he have liked such a woman in the past? He had a crush on her for so many years. Back then, when she married Li Xinza, he was sad for a long time. Looking at it now, it was so ugly that he wanted to vomit. Yang Yuhui gave Ning Shu a deep look, then turned around and left. Ning Shu narrowed his eyes and looked at Yang Yuhui's back view. He went out of school to buy breakfast. On the way back, he met a few hooligans in the countryside. These hooligans were frivolous. Ning Shu whistled. Yo, pretty girl, come and have some fun. Ning Shu. The hooligan reached out his hand to pull Ning Shu. Ning Shu gave him a slap. How dare you touch me? I'll slap you to death. The hooligan was slapped by Ning Shu until half of his face was swollen. He was dizzy and couldn't help but shake his head. Stupid bitch, I'll teach you a lesson. The hooligan Ning Shu glared and rushed over. Ning Shu took out the pepper spray and sprayed it into the eyes of the hooligans who rushed over. The hooligans couldn't open their eyes because of the pepper spray. Ning Shu kicked the hooligans to the ground one by one. They lay on the ground moaning. Ning Shu took the breakfast and left. A girl came out of a cafe not far away. This girl was wearing a leather jacket and leather pants. She looked very cool with short hair. Damn, so many people can't even beat a girl. Do they have any future? The girl put her hands on her waist. Her waist was slender, and her legs were long and straight. Big sis, that bitch is really heavy-handed. The hooligan groaned. The girl couldn't help but rub her forehead. Really shameful. I lost face in front of my idol. Yang Yuhui also came out of the cafe and walked to the girl's side. When the girl saw Yang Yuhui, she immediately scratched the ground with her toes and embarrassedly said, It's all because my subordinates are useless. It's not your fault. Thank you for this matter. Yang Yuhui softly said. The girl patted Yang Yuhui's shoulder. I just casually found these useless guys. I didn't even release the elites. Next time, I'll find someone else to help you teach that woman a lesson. How did that woman provoke you and make you so angry? The girl asked. It could be said that it was not a life and death hatred. Now that Chen Jianan was a suspect, Yang Yuhui would not let her go. He obviously had a search system, but it was restricted everywhere. Some of the things that should have been taken out by him were taken out by someone else. Although he had some money in his hands, but to do big things, this money was not enough. The more money he had, the more he wanted to have more money. How do you want me to deal with her? The girl asked Yang Yuhui. Do you want me to secretly kill her? Yang Yuhui shook his head. Although you're a gangster, it's still not good to take someone's life. Cut the tendons in her hands so that she can't stay in school anymore. Yang Yuhui said in a low voice. If the tendons in her hands were cut, her hands would be weak and unable to type. Yang Yuhui thought for a moment and said, Just cut off her tongue. Without her tongue, it would be difficult to speak. The girl nodded. I'll find some professionals to do these things. Thank you. Yang Yuhui held the girl's hand. Chapter 824. Yang Yuhui wanted to teach Ning Shu a lesson, which was why he found Long Shuangshuang. Long Shuangshuang's father was one of the underground forces in this city. To put it bluntly, he was a gangster. Long Shuangshuang had experienced all sorts of things with her father since she was young. She had a domineering and overbearing personality, and when she met Yang Yuhui, she felt that Yang Yuhui was different. Yang Yuhui was not as immature and reckless as his age. He looked very mature, and Long Shuangshuang had a good impression of him. Yang Yuhui found her and asked her to help deal with a woman. When she heard that it was a university student, Long Shuang did not take it to heart, and casually found a few hoodlums. In the end, she did not expect to lose face in front of Yang Yuhui. Long Shuang kicked the hoodlum lying on the ground and said angrily, "What are you doing here? Don't you think you're embarrassing yourself?" Scram. The hoodlum's eyes were stung by the pepper spray and they could not open their eyes at all. When they heard Big Sister's voice, they could only support each other and walk away. Long Shuang could not help but cover her face. How embarrassing. Yang Yuhui, you said to cut the tendons of that woman's hand. I will definitely do such a simple thing for you. Long Shuang promised Yang Yuhui. Yang Yuhui was a little angry in his heart. This time, he was not able to teach Chen Jianan a lesson. He had already alerted her, so she would definitely be on guard. It would not be easy to deal with Chen Jianan in the future. Moreover, Chen Jianan had a rich second-generation boyfriend. Seriously, he couldn't even do such a small thing. Were all the people in the underworld useless? Yang Yuhui had been in the entertainment industry for half his life, and was used to all kinds of dark methods. Framing, spreading rumors, stepping on other people's shoulders to get to the top. There were fights everywhere, and some people would gain fame and fortune, while others would never be able to make a comeback. The entertainment industry was a prosperous and chaotic place. It was a big vat of dye. How could a person who fell into the vat be as clean as new and still have the same heart? Kindness and simplicity could not survive. Yang Yuhui thought that he was not a kind person. It was related to his future and fate. He could not waste such a good card like the search system in his hands. Since he had a second chance in life, he could not let it down. When dealing with enemies, he could not be soft-hearted. Can I ask how this woman offended you? Why is it so troublesome? Just kill her, and I guarantee that the police won't be able to find out. Long Shuang couldn't help but ask Yang Yuhui. That woman was very beautiful. Could it be that there was something between the two of them? Or that the woman had done something wrong to Yang Yuhui? Yang Yuhui lightly said, "She's just a bitch, an annoying bitch. This matter is very important to me. Anyway, I won't let her have an easy time. You don't have to take her life, just cripple her hands and tongue." Although he was angry that these hoodlums didn't have any fighting strength, he couldn't show his anger in front of Long Shuang. Long Shuang nodded. It was easy to make a person die, but to make a person live a life worse than death, to torture a person mentally and physically, was torture. Long Shuang had seen everything before, but she admired Yang Yuhui's character. To achieve great things, one had to use some unconventional methods. Long Shuang hated indecisive people the most, people who claimed to be good people. The sight of it made one lose their appetite. Thank you for your help this time. I'll treat you to a meal. Yang Yuhui pulled Long Shuang's arm. Ning Shu was hiding not far away, silently chewing on the fried dough sticks. When he heard that Yang Yuhui wanted to cripple his hands and cut his tongue, he couldn't write anything. Even if he was a reborn person, what could he do? Write with his feet? By the time she finished writing, Yang Yuhui would have already become famous. Yang Yuhui's methods were truly ruthless. Ning Shu swallowed the last bite of the fried dough stick, gulped down a cup of soy milk, and threw the cup into the trash can. If you want to cripple me, I'll fucking cripple you first. Seeing Yang Yuhui and the woman get on the car, Ning Shu wanted to find a taxi to follow them, but in the blink of an eye, the two cars disappeared. Ning Shu gave up on following them, and turned to the pharmacy to see if there were any silver needles, or something like that. After buying the silver needles from the pharmacy and putting them in his bag, Ning Shu slowly returned to school. He had to strike first. This time it was just a hooligan, but he didn't know who it would be next time. In the storyline, the daughter of the underworld boss directly caused Chen Jianan's death, first disfiguring her face, then raping her and killing her. Yang Yuhui was the main culprit, so she was an accomplice, firmly carrying out Yang Yuhui's mission. This kind of dirty thing was all done by that Long Shuang. Ning Shu returned to the dormitory, and saw that Fang Menghan had just woken up, and was playing with her phone. Ning Shu deliberately looked at Fang Menghan with a pitiful look, as if he was looking at a joke. That look of his made people's heart burn with anger. Fang Menghan put down her phone and unhappily said, "What's with that look?" TSK. Ning Shu smacked his lips. When I went to buy breakfast this morning, I saw your senior brother Yang Yuhui eating with a woman. Don't tell me you were dumped. Ning Shu provoked Fang Menghan. Finding such a guy as your boyfriend, not only is he not good looking, but he's also a playboy. No matter what, you're still the campus belle. But you were actually cheated on by such a man. Ning Shu's expression was full of schadenfreude. Fang Menghan's face turned green. She was so angry at Ning Shu's words that her chest was heaving up and down. She pretended to be calm and said, Tisk, senior brother is now a man with a career, and his social circle is very big. Even if he's eating with a woman, she's still a business partner. She might even be a singer looking for senior brother to write a song. I don't find it strange that senior brother has a beautiful woman by his side. Senior brother is so outstanding, it's normal for someone to like him. Fang Menghan said calmly. Ning Shu. Ning Shu was ashamed of her lack of breadth of mind. Although Fang Menghan said it casually, if her face didn't tremble and her fists weren't clenched, it would be more convincing. Ning Shu shrugged his shoulders. You say it so casually. I clearly saw the two of them feeding each other. Chen Jianan, you're trying to sow discord between senior brother and me. Are you unhappy that senior brother and I are doing well? Fang Menghan glared at Ning Shu. Senior brother and I are doing well, Fang Menghan said seriously. Ning Shu pursed his lips. I'm telling you kindly that you've been cheated on. Why are you yelling at me? It was Yang Yuhui who cheated on her. But looking at Fang Menghan, it was as if she was going to tear her apart. It was as if she was the mistress. Ning Shu was really speechless. She was incomparably tolerant of men, but was extremely harsh to women. If you have the ability, go and tear Yang Yuhui apart. If you yell at others, your man won't cheat on you. You dare to say that you have good intentions? Fang Menghan got off the bed. Don't poke your nose into my relationship with senior brother. It doesn't matter who wants to poke their nose into it. I'm not stupid. Ning Shu sneered. Fang Menghan was so angry that her face turned pale. She went into the bathroom and slammed the door. She felt the whole floor shake. Chapter 825. Looking at Fang Menghan's stubborn face, she said that she was on good terms with her senior, but her angry face had already exposed everything. Seeing that you are unhappy, I feel much happier. The reason why Yang Yuhui suspected her was because of Fang Menghan's big mouth. After a while, Fang Menghan came out of the bathroom and changed her clothes. In the past, Fang Menghan liked to wear skirts. She looked pure and lovely, and with a skirt, she looked like a fairy. But today, Fang Menghan wore trousers and flats. She looked like she was going to have a cat fight. Everything was based on convenience. Fang Menghan glared at him and left with her bag. Ning Shu put on his cap and followed behind Fang Menghan. Yang Yuhui was no longer in school, and Ning Shu did not know Yang Yuhui's address. He could only follow Fang Menghan. Fang Menghan probably knew where Yang Yuhui lived. Fang Menghan hurried out of the school, and Ning Shu followed behind her. Fang Menghan did not hail a taxi, so she walked. After walking for about 10 minutes, Fang Menghan arrived at a high-class apartment district not far from the school. Yang Yuhui must have made a lot of money to buy a house in the university town with such good security. Ning Shu followed behind Fang Menghan. Seeing that she entered the district, Ning Shu did not follow her. Not to mention whether the guard would let him in. Fang Menghan was only let in after speaking a few words with the guard. Also, there was an elevator in the apartment. She did not know which floor Yang Yuhui lived on. If she followed Fang Menghan into the elevator, she would definitely be discovered by Fang Menghan. Fang Menghan had something on her mind, and she did not notice that she was being followed. Ning Shu was just outside the district. Knowing where Yang Yuhui lived would make things easier. Ning Shu turned and went back to the dormitory. Back in the dormitory, Ning Shu turned on his computer to see if he could hack into Yang Yuhui's computer. He could not hack into it. The IP address was right, but he could not hack into it. Ning Shu did not know that Yang Yuhui, who had lost 2 drafts, did not use a computer anymore. He just wrote them in a notebook. He had gone to ask around and was told that he had encountered a hacker, which was why the item had disappeared. Yang Yuhui was furious. His intuition told him that it was Ning Shu who did it. He wanted to cripple Ning Shu. Therefore, Ning Shu had no way of getting the script and songs from Yang Yuhui. Ning Shu could only write slowly by himself. Fang Menghan went to look for Yang Yuhui in the morning, and only came back at noon. When she came back, her eyes were red and there were red marks on her face. It was obvious that he had been beaten up. Furthermore, his back was hunched and he was holding his waist. Did his waist break? Ning Shu raised his eyebrows. Yang Yuhui had violent tendencies. When Fang Menghan saw Ning Shu staring at her, she couldn't help but cover her face. Fang Menghan went into the bathroom and washed her face before coming out. Were you beaten up? Ning Shu asked directly. Fang Menghan snorted coldly. Her voice was thick and nasal. What does it have to do with you? Fang Menghan looked at Ning Shu with hatred. She had deliberately provoked her relationship with Yang Yuhui. She had excitedly gone to look for Yang Yuhui, and actually saw a woman in Yang Yuhui's house. Fang Menghan was already angered by Ning Shu's words. Now that she saw a woman, she couldn't suppress the anger in her heart. She quickly walked over, and was about to hit Long Shuang Shuang. Long Shuang Shuang wasn't a little white flower that could be easily beaten up. It was good enough that the man-eating flower didn't bully others. Long Shuang Shuang directly grabbed Fang Menghan's hand, and threw her over her shoulder. Then, she gave Fang Menghan a few slaps. If Yang Yuhui hadn't held her back, Fang Menghan's face would have been even more swollen. Although Fang Menghan was beaten up, it didn't arouse Yang Yuhui's pity. Yang Yuhui only felt irritated. There were many things that were troubling him now, but Fang Menghan was still causing trouble. In Yang Yuhui's heart, nothing was more important than his career. As long as he was successful, he would have women, money, and status. Fang Menghan felt wronged, especially when she saw the proud and arrogant Long Shuang Shuang. Fang Menghan felt that this woman was even more disgusting than Chen Jianan in the dormitory. Fang Menghan was pulled out by Yang Yuhui. Then, Fang Menghan could only cover her swollen face and run out gloomily. Fang Menghan climbed onto the bed and pulled the curtain. She covered her head with the blanket and ignored Ning Shu. Ning Shu occasionally heard the sound of Fang Menghan sobbing. Ning Shu was wearing a mask while watching a TV series. She felt that someone was looking at her from behind. She turned around and saw Fang Menghan looking at her computer through the gap in the curtain. Fang Menghan and Ning Shu's eyes met and immediately covered each other with the curtain. Ning Shu slowly turned her head and rolled her eyes. Why was Fang Menghan peeping at her? Was she spying on her for Yang Yuhui? Ning Shu clicked the mouse and increased the volume of the computer. Fang Menghan pulled the curtain and Ning Shu shouted, "Can you lower your voice? This is the dormitory, not your room." Ning Shu shrugged her shoulders and lowered the volume of the music. Fang Menghan pulled the curtain and lay on the bed. Ning Shu thought for a while and cut all the documents in the computer into the USB flash drive, leaving nothing on the computer. After copying, Ning Shu put the USB drive in her bag and turned off the computer. She put it in the cabinet and was about to go out. Fang Menghan pulled the curtain and looked at Ning Shu. She asked, "Where are you going? If you come back late, I won't open the door for you. I have my own key." Ning Shu said indifferently. Fang Menghan asked again, "Then when are you coming back? You have to tell me. There are only you and me in the dormitory now." Ning Shu looked straight at Fang Menghan. "How did I affect you? You are being too nosy." Ning Shu put the cap on her head and went out of the school. She wandered around the neighborhood where Yang Yuhui lived. She mainly wanted to see where there were surveillance cameras, and where it was hidden. For several days, Ning Shu had been investigating the situation. She wore different clothes every time, but she always wore a cap to cover her face. Sometimes she wore invisible high heels, sometimes she wore flat shoes to change her height, sometimes she wore makeup, sometimes she wore no makeup, and sometimes she wore a wig. She naturally had to be careful if she wanted to do something bad. Ning Shu wanted to observe Yang Yuhui's movement pattern and find a suitable place to do it. Ning Shu was a little anxious. Recently, there were some strange people in the school. It was the holidays now, and the university town was open. Ning Shu met a few people. Their eyes were bright and their temples were swollen. They were obviously martial artists. Could these people be sent by Long Shuang Shuang? They wanted to cripple her hand and cut her tongue. Ning Shu walked past these people expressionlessly. She wore a wig and heavy makeup. These people might not be able to recognize her. Chapter 826. Faced with such a situation, Ning Shu had to act quickly. After a period of observation, Yang Yuhui basically returned to the neighborhood at 11 o'clock at night with the smell of alcohol on his body. Obviously, he was socializing. The current Yang Yuhui did not have the qualifications to be willful. He had not reached the level where he could shake the entertainment industry with a stomp of his feet. Ning Shu hid in a small alley, which was a blind spot for surveillance. Ning Shu was wearing black clothes that reeked of sweat. There was no fragrance on his body and he smelled like a man. His hair was tied into a bun, covered with stockings, and put on a hat. It was basically impossible to see what Ning Shu looked like. He did not know if Yang Yuhui would walk home today, or if someone would drive him home. If he drove, all his preparations would be in vain. Ning Shu hid himself and waited for Yang Yuhui to pass by. It would be midnight in an hour. There were fewer people on the roadside, and the street lights were silver. Damn, so many mosquitoes. Ning Shu could not help but slap the mosquitoes on his face. He could even bite through his stockings. Who's there? A male voice sounded. When Ning Shu heard this voice, he quivered. It was not a waste to feed the mosquitoes in the middle of the night. Yang Yuhui's heart was beating like thunder. An ominous premonition arose in his heart. He immediately wanted to run, but he saw a black shadow pouncing on him. It was pitch black and his face could not be seen. Yang Yuhui's heart suddenly thumped heavily. His ears were filled with the sound of his heart beating rapidly. He could not hear the surrounding sounds. Ning Shu mobilized the qi gene in his body and used all his strength to pull Yang Yuhui to a hidden place. Yang Yuhui did not even have the chance to struggle. He was pulled away without even having the time to react. Yang Yuhui's nose suddenly smelled the stinky sweat of a salted fish. His mouth was covered, and he felt that this person's hands were stinky. Ning Shu did not even think before knocking Yang Yuhui unconscious. Yang Yuhui grunted and fainted. Ning Shu held a silver needle between his fingers and felt Yang Yuhui's face. He found a place and inserted the needle. There are many nerve acupoints on the face, so you can't speak smoothly without cutting your tongue. After that, Ning Shu inserted another needle into Yang Yuhui's nose. This made Yang Yuhui's mouth crooked, and saliva flowed out from the corner of his mouth. After the needle was inserted, Ning Shu felt Yang Yuhui's hand and touched Yang Yuhui's wrist. The needle was inserted very deeply into the meridians. Yang Yuhui immediately woke up from the pain. Ning Shu struck him again and knocked him unconscious. Ning Shu cut the silver needle with a pair of scissors, leaving a small part of the needle in Yang Yuhui's wrist. After one hand was done, Ning Shu took out a silver needle and inserted it into the other wrist. Yang Yuhui was awakened by the pain again. His whole body was drenched in sweat, and his eyes were dizzy. Ning Shu did not hesitate to knock him unconscious again. He cut the silver needle and inserted it into the wrist. After doing these things, Ning Shu searched Yang Yuhui's wallet. There were only a few small denominations of cash and a bag of bank cards. He found a check. It was too dark to see the amount on it. Ning Shu tore it up. Ning Shu left Yang Yuhui here and went out of the alley. He pressed down his hat and walked away. Ning Shu threw the scissors, silver needle, and other things from the bridge into the river. He took off the stockings on his head and stuffed them into his bag. He could still wear them after washing them. Ning Shu returned to the dormitory. It was already 2 o'clock. Ning Shu was about to go upstairs when a strong light shone on Ning Shu. Ning Shu used his hand to block the strong car lights. Ning Shu saw Li Xinza leaning against the car with his arms crossed. He tilted his head and looked at Ning Shu. Fuck. What was this guy doing here in the middle of the night? Ning Shu walked over and asked Li Xinza. Why are you here? Li Xinza looked down at Ning Shu and said indifferently, It's so late. Where did you come back from? Ning Shu was speechless. What should she say? Should she say that she went to do something bad? Even if she told the truth, would Li Xinza believe her? I just want to know where you went. It's so late. Li Xinza walked over to Ning Shu and smelled Ning Shu's scent. What did you do? What's that smell on you? Ningxu cried and threw himself into Li Xinza's arms with a sweaty smell. Li Xinza suddenly felt like he was going to suffocate. Finally he sighed and hugged Ningxu. What happened? Ningxu lifted Li Xinza's clothes and wiped his tears. I'm being chased. Ningxu blew his nose. Yang Yuhui found someone in the underworld and said that he would cut my tendons, cut my tongue, and rape me before killing me. Why did he have to cut your tendons and cut your tongue before raping you before killing you? Why waste so much effort? Li Xinza's tone was bad. I just want to know where you went tonight, and why you only came back now. I've been waiting since 10 o'clock. If he cut my tendons, I won't be able to struggle. If he cut my tongue, I won't be able to scream. This logic makes sense. Ningxu said. Li Xinza was speechless. Could he be interested in being covered in blood? What I'm concerned about is why you came back so late. Do you know that it's dangerous for a girl to be outside at night? Li Xinza's tone was very bad. I'm telling the truth. Yang Yuhui asked Long Shuangshuang to find someone to cripple me. Recently, some people have appeared in the school. If you don't believe me, I'll prove it to you tomorrow. Ningxu said sincerely. Please believe me. Li Xinza rubbed his eyebrows. I just want to know where you went tonight and what nonsense you're talking about. Ningxu. Degree? Fuck, so annoying. So annoying, so boring, so annoying. Could it be that he suspected that she had cheated, went on a date, and went to get lost? Ningxu said indifferently. If I said that I was being chased and only got rid of them now, would you believe me? You're teasing me. Li Xinza said lightly. See, you really don't believe me. Ningxu sighed. I went to follow Yang Yuhui and Long Shuangshuang, Boss Long's daughter. Li Xinza raised his eyebrows. The entertainment circle was a mix of good and bad. It was normal for Li Xinza to know Long Shuangshuang. Yes, I don't know how I offended Yang Yuhui. Yang Yuhui wants Long Shuangshuang to deal with me. Ningxu said. I think Yang Yuhui is taking revenge on me for rejecting him and making him lose face. Li Xinza rubbed his chin and smelled the smell coming from Ningxu's body. I'll come find you tomorrow morning. I must verify this matter. Ningxu nodded. I'm going to take a shower. Drive slowly. Call me if you have anything in the future. Don't wait like this. If you have time to wait for someone, you might as well sleep and take care of your body. Ningxu said lightly. Li Xinza said after a while. Your phone is turned off. Ningxu was speechless. Awkward again. Ningxu smiled and turned to go upstairs. Seeing Li Xinza drive away, Ningxu let out a sigh of relief. Dealing with Li Xinza was really difficult. Even a hit was not as tiring. Chapter 827. Ningxu tiptoed into the dormitory. She didn't turn on the lights. She went straight to the bathroom and washed her body clean. She also washed her dirty clothes. Qinjinan, are you crazy? You're either playing on the computer or washing clothes at night. Can't you just stop? Fang Minghan shouted angrily. Can't you just let me sleep? Ningxu ignored Fang Minghan. He hung the clothes on the balcony and started drying his hair with the hairdryer. Qinjinan, are you doing this on purpose? Fang Minghan pulled open the curtain and shouted at Ningxu with an unfriendly expression. I can't sleep with my hair wet, can I? Ningxu blow-dried her hair and sat cross-legged on the bed to begin her cultivation. While cultivating, he actually fell asleep. Yang Yuhui, who looked like he had been robbed, slept in the alley for the whole night. When he woke up in the morning, the sun was already high in the sky. Yang Yuhui suddenly felt uncomfortable all over. First of all, he couldn't close his mouth and saliva flowed out. His neck was sticky. Apparently, the saliva from last night had stained his clothes. Yang Yuhui felt that his face was itchy, as if there were ants crawling on it. It was very itchy, as if they were crawling on his heart. Yang Yuhui couldn't help but scratch his face. When he raised his hand, he felt that his wrist was swollen and painful. Yang Yuhui touched his face with his hand and felt saliva. The corners of his mouth were a little crooked. Yang Yuhui felt that his hand was very sore. He couldn't help but shake it, and it hurt even more. Yang Yuhui checked his wrist. It was red and swollen. Even his 10 fingers were swollen like carrots. His skin was hot, and the veins in his palms and fingers were throbbing. What did that black shadow do to him last night? Yang Yuhui quickly stood up and was about to go to the hospital when he saw some confetti on the ground. Yang Yuhui quickly took out his wallet. The check inside was gone. It was a check of 1 million yuan. He had sold several scripts and songs last night. He only had so much money in total. In the end, it was torn to pieces in less than one night. Yang Yuhui was so angry that his face was distorted. The corners of his mouth were even more crooked. Saliva flowed out of his mouth. Bah, bastard. Yang Yuhui stuttered. His mouth seemed to be wrapped with something, and his speech was not smooth at all. Yang Yuhui had a bad feeling in his heart, and fear welled up in his heart. Yang Yuhui hailed a taxi and went to the hospital. After going to the hospital for a checkup, Yang Yuhui cared about his face the most. When he looked at himself in the mirror, he was shocked. He didn't know why his mouth was crooked. Doctor, what am I? Yang Yuhui closed his mouth and swallowed a mouthful of saliva. When he spoke, he felt that his mouth was full of saliva. He couldn't speak at all as saliva flowed down from the corner of his mouth. What kind of illness? After Yang Yuhui asked this question, he felt that it was very difficult. Saying this sentence took a lot of effort. It's itchy, my face is itchy. Yang Yuhui's eyes were red. Could it be a disease of the nerve endings? Did it suddenly become like this? The doctor asked. Yang Yuhui wiped away the saliva that had involuntarily flowed out from the corner of his mouth. However, his hand was in great pain and his wrist was bandaged. Both pairs of hands were so swollen that the skin was transparent and shiny. Take these medicine first and do more massages to soothe the muscles on your face, the doctor said. Apply anti-inflammatory medicine and medicinal wine on your hands. Yang Yuhui's body was hot and cold. His inflamed hands made him feel extremely uncomfortable. Yang Yuhui went to see a traditional Chinese medicine doctor again. The traditional Chinese medicine doctor said that Yang Yuhui's situation might be because he drank wine and slept outside for a night. Although it was summer now, there was heavy dew at night and the wind entered the body. It could be like this. Actually, it was just a slight stroke. The traditional Chinese medicine doctor prescribed a lot of Chinese medicine and asked Yang Yuhui to go back and recuperate. Yang Yuhui was so angry that he wanted to die. He just wanted his face to be normal. Not only did he unconsciously drool, but his mouth was also crooked. Although it wasn't serious, it seriously affected his image. He wanted to establish a foothold in the entertainment industry in the future. Even if he wasn't extremely handsome, he had to look normal. When he wanted to speak, his tongue was tied. It was as if his mouth was wrapped in water. It was abnormally difficult to speak. When he opened his mouth, saliva flowed out. How was he going to talk business with people like this? Yang Yuhui was burning with anxiety. His face couldn't help but twitch twice. Yang Yuhui spat out the saliva in his mouth. Is there any quick way? Yang Yuhui felt as if there were ants crawling on his face. It was extremely itchy. It wasn't really his skin that was itchy. Even if he scratched it, it wouldn't be able to relieve this itch. This itch was the itch in his heart. It was too uncomfortable. This kind of illness comes quickly, but it's not easy to cure it. The traditional Chinese medicine doctor said. Yang Yuhui felt as if his heart was in a pot of oil. How many opportunities would he miss? Moreover, he was a reborn person. His hands were swollen and he couldn't write a script. His mouth was crooked and he couldn't speak clearly. How was he going to write a script? Yang Yuhui felt an unprecedented despair. This despair made Yang Yuhui panic. It wasn't easy for him to be reborn. Before he could do anything, he got such a strange illness. What was the meaning of his rebirth? Did God want to play with him for a lifetime? In his previous life, he was poor. Even if he had a search system in this life, he was still plagued with disasters. Damn God. Yang Yuhui shivered as he returned to his house. Yang Yuhui's body was trembling violently. He felt hot and cold at the same time. Yang Yuhui lay on the bed and wrapped his body with the quilt. His mouth was crooked and his facial features looked very strange. Yang Yuhui felt as if his hands were about to die. His hands were so hot that it felt like they were about to be cooked. They were so swollen that he couldn't even bend his fingers. Yang Yuhui picked up his phone with difficulty and called Fang Minghan. Yang Yuhui couldn't even speak clearly. Saliva was dripping from the corner of his mouth. He said with difficulty, You come here. Fang Minghan couldn't hear Yang Yuhui's muffled voice clearly. She looked at the caller ID again. It was indeed senior brother. Could it be that senior brother pressed the wrong button? She shouted, Senior brother, are you there or not? Yang Yuhui heard Fang Minghan's words. He leaned over the bed and spat out the saliva in his mouth. He shouted, I want you to come here. Unexpectedly, his voice was full of energy. His pronunciation was perfect. Fang Minghan bit her lips. She packed her things and went to Yang Yuhui's house with her bag. Ning Shu leaned on the computer chair. Seeing that Fang Minghan was still going to look for Yang Yuhui, he couldn't help but suspect that he had failed last night. Could it be that it was too dark and she didn't hit the right acupoint? Why did it feel like Yang Yuhui was fine? If he failed this time, Yang Yuhui would definitely be on guard. There wouldn't be another chance to strike. What a pity. Chapter 828. Fang Minghan was called by Yang Yuhui early in the morning. Fang Minghan was very unhappy. She felt that Yang Yuhui didn't treat her as his girlfriend anymore. He didn't care for her like he did for his girlfriend. Moreover, Fang Minghan knew that Yang Yuhui had some ambiguous relationships with other women. Fang Minghan sighed. She didn't want to break up with Yang Yuhui. Yang Yuhui was a successful man, and he would be even more successful in the future. There would definitely be many flirtatious bitches around him. She was Yang Yuhui's first woman. No matter what, she had to establish her position. Fang Minghan arrived at Yang Yuhui's door. She pressed the doorbell for a while, but no one opened the door. Fang Minghan was very impatient. What was the meaning of this? Was he toying with her? Lying on the bed, Yang Yuhui's face was red and his forehead was covered in cold sweat. When he heard the doorbell and got up to open the door, his hands couldn't move at all. Every time he moved, there would be needles pricking his insides. The pain was unbearable. Every time he moved, Yang Yuhui's face turned pale. When he opened the door with all his might, Yang Yuhui almost fainted from the pain. Senior brother? Fang Minghan was very surprised to see Yang Yuhui sitting on the ground, especially when she saw that the corner of Yang Yuhui's mouth was crooked, and saliva was dripping from the corner of his mouth. Fang Minghan had a look of disgust on her face for a moment before she hurriedly helped Yang Yuhui up. Send him to the hospital, Yang Yuhui said with difficulty. His hand was in so much pain that he couldn't even move it. Fang Minghan helped Yang Yuhui to the sofa and called the ambulance. Senior brother, what's wrong with you? Fang Minghan took out a handkerchief and wiped the saliva from the corner of Yang Yuhui's mouth. Yang Yuhui's heart was stung by Fang Minghan's actions. He was abnormally embarrassed and angry. Did he feel like an idiot? His mind was extremely clear, but he just couldn't control his facial expression, his lips, and his tongue, drooling like an idiot and stuttering. When the ambulance arrived, Yang Yuhui said to Fang Minghan with difficulty, the drawer. Gulp. Yang Yuhui swallowed a mouthful of saliva, but saliva still flowed out from the corner of his mouth. Fang Minghan felt a little disgusted, but she still took out a handkerchief to wipe Yang Yuhui's mouth. After wiping twice, the handkerchief was sticky and disgusting. Fang Minghan wanted to throw the handkerchief away. There are documents in the drawer, documents. Yang Yuhui said to Fang Minghan. His big tongue made it hard for him to speak clearly. Fang Minghan followed Yang Yuhui's gaze, opened the drawer, and took out a folder. She opened the folder, and the first thing she saw was the name of the script. Fang Minghan's heart skipped a beat. You're going to SK. Should we send this script to SK? Fang Minghan asked. Yang Yuhui nodded, large drops of cold sweat dripping down his forehead. Fang Minghan stuffed the script into her bag. The price, I have already discussed. Yang Yuhui said with difficulty, wishing he could cut off his disobedient tongue. Yang Yuhui's face turned red. His self-esteem was trampled to the ground, especially in front of a woman who worshipped him. Not long after, the ambulance arrived. Yang Yuhui was carried downstairs to the hospital, while Fang Minghan took the script to SK Company. Fang Minghan gave the contents of the folder to SK Company. Fang Minghan explained to SK Company that Yang Yuhui was not feeling well, and asked her to deliver the documents. Because Yang Yuhui had already discussed everything beforehand, the negotiation went smoothly. SK Company gave Fang Minghan a check. On the check was 5 million. When Fang Minghan saw this number, she was shocked, and her heart pounded. No wonder Yang Yuhui could buy a house when he was still a second-year student. If he did not want to keep a low profile, he would have bought a car. Moreover, Yang Yuhui already planned to buy a car. 5 million was a sum of money that many people could not earn in their lifetime. A few scripts, a few songs, it was like robbing money. Fang Minghan put the check in her bag and clutched it tightly. After leaving the company, Fang Minghan had a bold idea. She wanted to turn the 5 million into cash. Could she take some money from it? Anyway, Yang Yuhui's face was not clear, and he would not question SK Company. Money moved people's hearts. Fang Minghan's heart pounded. This idea had been bewitching her for a long time. Fang Minghan's palms were sweaty, and she was struggling. In the end, she let out a long breath. There was no need to fall out with Yang Yuhui for a few million. In the future, when she entered the entertainment industry, it would be a small matter for her to become famous. Especially since Yang Yuhui knew how to write scripts and songs. If he wrote a script for her to be the female lead, she would be able to make money. If he wrote a song for her, she would be able to become famous. Fang Minghan thought it through and let out a long breath. A long string of zeros was too much of a test of one's willpower. Fang Minghan took the check and went to the hospital to find Yang Yuhui. Fang Minghan handed the check to Yang Yuhui. When Yang Yuhui saw the check, he was very satisfied. He opened his mouth slightly and wanted to say something, but saliva flowed out from the corner of his mouth. Yang Yuhui's heart fell from the sky to the ground. Even if he had money, it would not be able to make up for his damaged self-esteem. No matter how much money he had to spend, he had to cure this strange disease. In the past, Yang Yuhui felt that he was not handsome. Now that he thought about it, he felt that it was good to be normal and healthy. Fang Minghan endured the disgust in her heart, and took a handkerchief to wipe the corner of Yang Yuhui's mouth. The handkerchief had been wiped a few times, and it was filled with a strange smell. Yang Yuhui slept in the alley for the whole night, and did not brush his teeth in the morning. His hand was injured, so he definitely could not brush his teeth. Fang Minghan's face was calm, but her heart was not calm at all. In short, Yang Yuhui's image in her heart had already collapsed. Yang Yuhui wanted to have an operation. His hand was so swollen, and it was getting more and more swollen. His skin looked like it was about to burst. The doctor guessed that there was a foreign object inside. When the X-ray was taken, they found that there was an extremely small needle the size of a fingernail rubbed on his wrist. The hospital arranged for the operation to be done as soon as possible, and took out the thin needle. When Yang Yuhui woke up and saw the thin needle, he did not think that someone wanted to harm him. He could not speak, and the needle was inserted into his hand. The doctor said that the needle was inserted into the tendon of his hand, and it was inflamed and suppurated. He had to take good care of it. He could not speak, could not write. He wanted to do this to Chen Jianan, but now he was like this. Only Long Shuangshuang knew about this. Then why did Long Shuangshuang do this? Yang Yuhui remembered that the person was very strong, and his body was filled with the smell of sweat. It should be a man. If it was really Long Shuangshuang's people, why didn't they go to deal with Chen Jianan? Why did they harm him like this? Yang Yuhui was puzzled. He could not understand why Long Shuangshuang did this. What went wrong in the middle? Chapter 829. Yang Yuhui stayed in the hospital, and Fang Minghan stayed to take care of Yang Yuhui. She was willing to take care of Yang Yuhui. After all, Fang Minghan wanted to stay by Yang Yuhui's side after seeing that he was willing to pay millions. Yang Yuhui's heart was in a mess. He wanted to call Long Shuangshuang to ask what was going on, but he couldn't say a complete sentence. There were a lot of things that were stuck in his heart that he couldn't say. Yang Yuhui didn't think that Long Shuangshuang would betray him. This matter must have something to do with Chen Jianan. Yang Yuhui was sure that this matter had something to do with Ning Shu. This was his intuition. Even if Chen Jianan couldn't do it, she still had a rich second-generation boyfriend. Especially the Li family's company, which was very powerful now. It must be someone hired by Li Xinza. Yang Yuhui wanted to ask Fang Minghan, who was beside the bed, about Chen Jianan's injury last night. But when he opened his mouth, saliva flowed out. It made Yang Yuhui want to die. Fang Minghan could only wipe the corner of Yang Yuhui's mouth with an indifferent expression. Fang Minghan saw Yang Yuhui acting like a fool. It made Fang Minghan wonder if her efforts were worth it. Moreover, Fang Minghan found that Yang Yuhui's mouth was getting more and more crooked. She took a lot of medicine every day, but the effect was minimal. The medical fees were not cheap, and Yang Yuhui was like throwing money out. She had never seen Yang Yuhui being so generous to her. Fang Minghan sighed. She could only take care of Yang Yuhui. When he went to the toilet, she had to take off his pants for him. She didn't even treat her parents like this. In these few days, Ning Shu stayed in the dormitory obediently. That night, Ning Shu felt that Li Xinza was angry. Every time she communicated with Li Xinza, she would use a video call to prove that she stayed in the dormitory and didn't go anywhere. Ning Shu told him that someone was following her, but Li Xinza didn't believe it. Ning Shu sighed. Li Xinza was only concerned about where she went that night. Why was it so annoying? One more person means a lot of trouble. Ning Shu thought about it and called Li Xinza. She said to Li Xinza, "Let's go to the hospital." "Are you sick?" "That night, I really went to follow Yang Yuhui and Long Shuangshuang. I didn't go on a date with anyone. I went to the hospital to check if I was still a virgin." Li Xinza was speechless. Li Xinza didn't say anything for a long time. Li Xinza really didn't know how to respond. Li Xinza sighed. "Let's have lunch together." "Okay," Ning Shu said immediately. "I'll let you see if I'm being targeted." Ning Shu washed up and tied up her hair, revealing her smooth forehead, allowing people to see her facial features at a glance. He was wearing flat shoes and pants. His outfit was very simple. Thanks to Chen Jianan's looks, she was pretty even in a simple outfit. At noon, Li Xinza drove to the dormitory. Ning Shu took out 2 bottles of pepper spray and put them in his pocket. Everything was prepared so that he wouldn't feel burdened when running. Ning Shu locked the door and went downstairs. When Li Xinza saw Ning Shu wearing a t-shirt and jeans, he felt that his girlfriend had become more valiant. Her temperament was different. Chen Jianan's temperament was quiet and elegant. Her current temperament, "Let's go." Li Xinza opened the car door. Ning Shu said, "We'll walk and eat at the restaurant next to the school." "Okay." Li Xinza held Ning Shu's hand and walked on the school path. "You used to say that you liked this path the most. The leaves are flying, it's very artistic and beautiful," Li Xinza said gently. Ning Shu felt a few gazes on her. These people didn't look outstanding. They were either weeding or sweeping the floor. They couldn't attract anyone's attention. Li Xinza and Ning Shu left the school, followed by a few people. Ning Shu leaned against Li Xinza and said, "We're being followed." Li Xinza wanted to turn his head to look, but Ning Shu immediately said, "Don't look back." Li Xinza frowned. "There are many people on the street. We can fight our way out." Ning Shu shook her head. "Let's go eat. Maybe I'm wrong." Ning Shu pulled Li Xinza into a roadside restaurant. A few people followed behind them and sat at a table not far from Ning Shu and Li Xinza. Li Xinza's expression was very bad. These people were following them. "How long have they been following you?" Li Xinza asked Ning Shu in a low voice. Ning Shu moved her lips. "It's been a while." Ning Shu ordered 2 dishes and picked up the bowl to eat. Li Xinza didn't have much of an appetite and watched Ning Shu stuff food into her mouth. The few people beside them also ordered the dishes noisily, but their eyes were on Ning Shu and Li Xinza from time to time. Ning Shu ate half a bowl of rice and put down the bowl and chopsticks. Li Xinza paid the bill and pulled Ning Shu away. A person deliberately stretched out his foot to block Li Xinza and Ning Shu's path. Li Xinza's expression suddenly turned ugly. She directly stepped on the leg that was blocking the aisle. Li Xinza was not the kind of person who would be bullied. Li Xinza stepped on the leg and Ning Shu also stepped on it. Ning Shu's strength was much stronger than Li Xin's. When he stepped on it, the sound of bones cracking could be heard. Ouch! The person who was stepped on immediately covered his leg and wailed. What do you mean? Fuck, do you want to fight? Ning Shu pulled Li Xin's hand and ran out of the restaurant. A few people ran quickly behind them and chased after Ning Shu and Li Xin's. They quickly caught up with Ning Shu and Li Xin's and surrounded them. These people had a vicious and murderous aura. Obviously, their hands were stained with human lives. Why are you running? Keep running. A man said with a fierce look. You broke my brother's leg and you want to run away? If I don't teach you a lesson today, you won't know how many eyes you have. Do you know who I am? I know Boss Long. Are you sure you want to fight? Li Xin's coldly said, looking very imposing. What Boss Long? You touched my brother. Even if you know the King of Heaven, I won't let you go. The man's expression was cold. Ning Shu leaned close to Li Xin's and stuffed a bottle of pepper spray into Li Xin's hand. Li Xin's was stunned for a moment and tightly held the pepper spray. This woman looks good. Brother How? Will you let us have some fun later? Another man looked up and down at Ning Shu with a wretched look. Don't mention how disgusting it is. Fuck, son of a bitch. Li Xin's took out the pepper spray and sprayed it into the man's eyes. Ning Shu also quickly sprayed it into the eyes of several people. Ah! Hiss! Several people immediately covered their eyes. Tears fell down. Their eyes were burning as if they were going to go blind. Li Xin's seized the opportunity and violently beat up several people. Ning Shu pulled Li Xin's and ran back to the school. Chapter 830. Ning Shu held Li Xin's hand as they ran through the campus. Ning Shu only stopped when they reached the dormitory. She panted heavily with her hands on her knees. Li Xin's lay on the ground, his chest heaving up and down violently. After a while, Li Xin's got up from the ground and looked at Ning Shu. You did it on purpose. You knew someone was following you, but you still walked. You didn't believe me, so I'll let you feel it. Ning Shu said directly. If you suspect anything, you can tell me directly. If you tell me clearly, there won't be any misunderstandings, right? Ning Shu said sincerely. I really didn't do anything wrong to you that night. Li Xin's. Why do I always feel so powerless? I'm not fussing about that. It's just that it's so late, and it's not safe for you to be outside alone. You should tell me everything and not be so reckless. Li Xin's said. Ning Shu immediately said. It's good that there's no misunderstanding. I'll tell you everything in the future. Right, you said you know Boss Long. How are you going to deal with this? Of course I'm going to find Boss Long. Boss Long has a cooperation with the company. There's a TV series that they're co-producing. Li Xin's face was serious. We can't just let this go. Long Shuang's father is filming a TV series. Ning Shu was curious. Filming a movie is the fastest way to launder money. And it's a lot of money. Now that the higher-ups are strict, many people have started to go ashore to wash their hands. Just fighting and killing will attract the attention of the higher-ups. Li Xin's said. Ning Shu nodded. Then I'll leave this matter to you. I'm scared of being followed every day. Li Xin's was confused. When did you run so fast? I can't even keep up with you. The will to survive, you know? The power that explodes in the face of danger. Ning Shu said seriously. I'm going up. I'm sweating all over. Ning Shu wiped his sweat and said to Li Xin's, you should go back too. Li Xin's nodded and drove away. Ning Shu turned and went upstairs. When he reached the dormitory, 2333's voice sounded in his mind. Ning Shu, think of a way to get close to Yang Yuhui. Why? Yang Yuhui's fate is coming to an end. The system is about to leave him and choose a new host. 2333 said. I want to completely destroy this system now. This was the first time he had heard 2333 speak in such a domineering manner. Is this system harmful to the plane? Ning Shu asked. Of course, this is a type of space that hasn't formed a plane, so there's no way to form laws. It relies on giving all kinds of benefits and conveniences to the host, causing the laws of heaven and earth to tilt more fate to the host, seizing fate and laws of heaven and earth. A parasite-like existence. Ningxu nodded. Yes, now he had to find Yang Yuhui and completely destroy that system. Only then would this matter be truly resolved. I just need to get close to Yang Yuhui? Ningxu asked. No, I need to wait for the system to leave the host. Only then can I take the opportunity to attack its data, 2333 said. If I attack directly, it will cause the host to die. Even if Yang Yuhui dies, it doesn't matter, right? Ningxu said. 2333 said unhappily. I'm just a system. If I cause the death of a person in the mission world, I will be erased, regardless of whether the person deserves to die or not. The reason why we are restricted like this is because we are afraid that the mission takers will use the support system to do things that will harm the plane. Ningxu comforted 2333. It's okay. I don't rely on you anyway. You don't have to worry about being erased. 2333 get out get out get out. Ningxu took a shower. The problem now was where should she go to find Yang Yuhui? She didn't know where Fang Minghan went. She hadn't appeared in a long time. She didn't know how Yang Yuhui was now. Why was there no news at all? Could it be that Yang Yuhui was fine? But 2333 said that Yang Yuhui's fate was coming to an end. Where the hell did he go? Ningxu took the Yurong powder and applied it on her face. She turned on her computer and browsed the entertainment news. The entertainment industry was very lively now. Anyway, recently, there were many high-quality television dramas and songs. For a time, hundreds of flowers bloomed. It was very prosperous. She just didn't know how long this prosperity would last. These things didn't belong to this world. They were forcibly stuffed into this world. Ningxu was watching the television series when she heard the sound of the door opening. Ningxu turned and saw Fang Minghan. Fang Minghan looked a little haggard. She even had dark circles under her eyes. As soon as she came back, she opened the closet to pack her clothes and put them in her bag. Ningxu raised an eyebrow and asked, "Why are you packing? School is about to start. Where are you going?" "I have something to do," Fang Minghan said tiredly. She was too lazy to bicker with Ningxu. She took a few changes of clothes and prepared to leave. "When are you coming back?" "School is about to start. If the dormitory teacher asks, how do you expect me to answer?" Ningxu asked Fang Minghan. "I'll be back when school starts." Fang Minghan opened the door and left. Ningxu went to the bathroom to wash off the mask on his face. Then he quickly chased after Fang Minghan. Fang Minghan took a taxi at the school gate and left. Ningxu also quickly hailed a taxi and said to the driver, "Catch up with the car in front." Fang Minghan's car stopped at the entrance of the hospital. Ningxu followed Fang Minghan to the door of the ward. Ningxu looked at the ward number. The door of the ward was open. Ningxu saw Yang Yuhui lying on the bed. Yang Yuhui's mouth was crooked, and saliva was flowing out of the corner of his mouth. Fang Minghan wiped the corner of his mouth with a handkerchief. Yang Yuhui looked at Fang Minghan and said with difficulty, "This time the money, why is it less than half?" Last time, Yang Yuhui saw that Fang Minghan was quite reliable. She came back with a 5 million check. Yang Yuhui was full of confidence in himself. He felt that Fang Minghan would be loyal to him. So he asked Fang Minghan to negotiate with the people in charge of the script in his hand. In advance, Yang Yuhui gave a price. If the price was lower, he would not sell it. However, there were several times when the price was reduced by half, or even less. Fang Minghan's eyes flashed. The company lowered the price very low. "I also paid your medical expenses before." Yang Yuhui did not suspect anything. He was angry that these companies took advantage of the situation. When he recovered, he would have enough money to make his own movie. Fang Minghan saw that Yang Yuhui did not pursue the matter. She was relieved. Then she asked, "Do you still have the script? I can help you sell it." Yang Yuhui shook his head. The price was too low. "No, I'm not selling it." Fang Minghan looked a little disappointed. "Don't you have the script?" "Yes." Yang Yuhui saw Fang Minghan staring at him. Her eyes were bright, and there was an unknown light in them. Yang Yuhui had a bad feeling in his heart. "No, I don't." Chapter 831. Yang Yuhui wasn't lying. He really didn't have any scripts left. Now he couldn't speak fluently and couldn't read the system's search results. He couldn't move his hands at all, let alone write or use the computer. Yang Yuhui was about to break down. If he just lay there and wasted time, the script he wrote might become a waste of paper. Another reincarnated person had already sold the script. Yang Yuhui's heart was filled with uneasiness and fear. He was used to relying on the system and success. If he went back to his previous life where he was nothing, he would break down. Ning Shu stood at the door of the ward and listened to Yang Yuhui and Fang Minghan's conversation. He felt that Yang Yuhui was really careless. He left everything to Fang Minghan. Was the relationship between the two of them so deep? Yang Yuhui had many women. He was afraid that he would fall for one of them. Yang Yuhui asked Fang Minghan to sell the script for him. Fang Minghan must have stuffed money into his pocket. Ning Shu asked 2333 in his heart. Has the system left Yang Yuhui? No, 2333 said. It's not easy to find a suitable host. It won't leave easily. Yang Yuhui still has some luck. Ning Shu frowned. When will the system leave? How would I know? I can only attack the system the moment it leaves. 2333 said. When Yang Yuhui's luck decreases, the system will naturally abandon him. That sounds scary. Yang Yuhui relied on the system. Without the system, he would return to his original state. Is there a free lunch in this world? He's the only one with the system. Is he really that special? 2333 said calmly. Since she had to wait for the system to leave Yang Yuhui, she would have to go to the hospital every day. Ning Shu turned and left. It seemed that the system wouldn't leave Yang Yuhui for the time being. Ning Shu called a taxi back to the dormitory and turned on the computer. This time, Ning Shu was writing a script for a movie. Yang Yuhui couldn't move his hands or mouth. If he wrote another script, Yang Yuhui's luck would decrease. When Yang Yuhui's luck ran out, the system would leave Yang Yuhui. Anyway, she was the only one in the dormitory. Ning Shu worked all day and night on the script. When he was done, he submitted it to the Li family company. Then, when he had nothing to do, he would go to the hospital to keep watch. However, there was no news from 2333. Yang Yuhui was recuperating in the hospital, but the symptoms of the crooked corners of his mouth had yet to improve. He took a lot of medicine every day, but it was useless. Yang Yuhui was very anxious in his heart. He had been in the hospital for more than a month. Seeing that school was about to start, how could he meet people like this? Moreover, the hospitalization fees in this hospital were not cheap. Yang Yuhui stayed in a single room, and everything was of the best quality. After a few days, the doctor asked him to pay the fees. Currently, Yang Yuhui did not have any scripts to sell and had no income. Instead, he spent money like water. Fortunately, Fang Minghan was by his side to take care of him. Yang Yuhui struggled to say to Fang Minghan, wait for me. I'll write a song for you." Fang Minghan took a handkerchief and wiped the saliva from the corner of his mouth. She said reluctantly, "Good, don't be in a hurry. Let your body recover first. Your situation is not good. I don't think you're really sick," Fang Minghan said. Yang Yuhui looked at Fang Minghan. "Maybe you've provoked something unclean, or been cursed by someone. Otherwise, why is there no effect after taking so many medicines?" Fang Minghan said. Could it be like this?" Yang Yuhui said anxiously. "Maybe someone hates you and cursed you? Or maybe you've encountered something unclean. Senior brother, I think you should find someone who knows metaphysics to come and take a look," Fang Minghan suggested. Yang Yuhui seemed to see a new hope, but he did not know anyone who was proficient in metaphysics. "Senior brother, I know a Taoist priest. He's the Taoist priest in my hometown. This Taoist priest is very skilled in metaphysics. People in my hometown go to him for everything," Fang Minghan said. But Fang Minghan's face showed that she was in a dilemma. What's wrong?" Yang Yuhui was agitated. The corner of his mouth was even more crooked, and his saliva flowed down. Fang Minghan frowned. Her eyes flashed with disgust. She took a handkerchief and wiped the corner of Yang Yuhui's mouth. Yang Yuhui stared at Fang Minghan. Fang Minghan said helplessly, It's just that the Taoist priest usually doesn't come out. The Taoist priest doesn't care about the matters of the mortal world. He only wants to cultivate. Yang Yuhui's eyes were filled with doubt. Cultivate? Become an immortal? Seeing the doubt in Yang Yuhui's eyes, Fang Minghan said calmly, we can find other Taoists to come and take a look. If there's really something, we can ask the Taoist priest to come and take it. Yang Yuhui thought for a moment and nodded in agreement. More options meant more hope. Senior brother, I'll go and contact the Taoist priest? Yang Yuhui nodded. Fang Minghan turned around with a smile on her face. She took her bag and left the ward. Ning Shu hid outside the ward. When he heard the conversation between Yang Yuhui and Fang Minghan, he couldn't help but laugh. Fang Minghan wanted to cheat Yang Yuhui of his money. Ning Shu was watching a good show. When he was successful, he was chased by tens of thousands of people. When he was down, his woman wanted to step on him and take advantage of him. It seemed that Fang Minghan didn't love Yang Yuhui that much. Yang Yuhui's protagonist aura had weakened. His attractiveness to women had also decreased. Yang Yuhui was able to gain the favor of all kinds of outstanding women because of his success. If Yang Yuhui was mediocre, these women wouldn't have interacted with him at all. The strong had more resources. Beauty was also a kind of resource. How could the mediocre Yang Yuhui have the qualifications to protect such a resource? The current Yang Yuhui was very unbearable. He was almost like a cripple. If it wasn't for the fact that she had some money, Fang Minghan wouldn't have taken care of Yang Yuhui like this. He was drooling like a fool. He couldn't even go to the toilet by himself. The glow on Yang Yuhui's body was getting weaker and weaker. Fang Minghan found a Taoist priest in a Taoist robe. When he walked into the ward, the Taoist priest's expression changed drastically. It was as if he had seen something terrifying. Ning Shu found it funny. If he wasn't wearing a Taoist robe, then he was a Taoist priest. Looking at the Taoist robe, Ning Shu suddenly thought of old man Tao Cheng. Only someone like that old man was qualified to be called a Taoist priest. The Taoist priest took a horsetail whisk and shook it violently in front of Yang Yuhui. He acted as a smokescreen and said with a deep expression, "There is a very powerful thing following you. This thing is absorbing your essence. Moreover, it will make everything difficult for you. Your life should have been smooth sailing. You should be rich and powerful. Because this thing is following you, it will affect your destiny." The Taoist priest made up a bunch of nonsense. However, Yang Yuhui believed it. He had the system. The system could search for a lot of things. These things were all wealth. There was really something following him. Chapter 832. Yang Yuhui was confused by the words of the Taoist priest that Fang Minghan found. Most of the people in the entertainment industry believed in fate. Some people were so popular that they were purple, and some people died without making a name for themselves. Yang Yuhui had been in the entertainment industry for most of his life. He had seen some celebrities who would even raise ghosts in order to become famous. Yang Yuhui didn't know if it was a psychological effect, but he felt a chill all over his body. It was as if a pair of eyes were looking at him from a place that he couldn't see. Yang Yuhui's heart was in a mess. Everything was going wrong for him. Taoist priest, what should we do? Can you get rid of the thing that is entangling senior brother? Fang Minghan anxiously asked the Taoist priest. The Taoist priest shook his head. My cultivation is too shallow. This thing is too powerful. I can't deal with it. I might even anger it. Everyone will be in danger. I'll take my leave first. The Taoist priest hurriedly ran away as if he was running for his life. Yang Yuhui was anxious. He looked at Fang Minghan. The corner of his mouth was crooked, and saliva flowed out. Fang Minghan wiped the corner of his mouth with a handkerchief. She looked a little scared. Senior brother really has that thing following him. What should we do now? Go and find a Taoist priest. Yang Yuhui said with difficulty. Fang Minghan shook her head. That Taoist priest won't come out easily. I'll call my parents and ask them. Yang Yuhui quickly nodded. Ning Shu just watched the situation develop indifferently. If Yang Yuhui was cheated of his money by Fang Minghan, his luck would be even lower. Feng Minghan didn't invite a Taoist priest from her hometown. The fake Taoist priest kept saying that he didn't want to get involved in karma, especially since the thing following Yang Yuhui was too powerful. He just wanted to make Yang Yuhui feel fear. She invited him several times, but he didn't come. The same thing was repeatedly mentioned, which deepened the impression in her heart, especially when others were scared. After a long time, she started to believe that it was true. Moreover, she would magnify it infinitely in her heart. Yang Yuhui thought about how everything was going wrong for him. He felt more and more that there was something around him. Yang Yuhui couldn't eat or sleep well. He had become thin. No matter how Feng Minghan asked the Taoist priest to come out of the mountain, the Taoist priest refused to come. Yang Yuhui said directly, "What? What conditions? I'll agree to them." Feng Minghan said to Yang Yuhui, "Why don't I go home and ask you to come here personally? It's not sincere enough over the phone." Yang Yuhui was eager to change the current situation, so he naturally agreed with Feng Minghan's words. Feng Minghan packed her luggage and left on the same day after buying a train ticket. She didn't come back until a few days later. When she came back, she was accompanied by an old Taoist with a head full of silver hair and a beard that reached his heart. He gave off a sage-like vibe. Since it was forbidden in the hospital, Yang Yuhui could only leave the hospital and return to his room. The old Taoist checked Yang Yuhui's house and blabbered a bunch of things. The feng shui of the house was not good. The white tiger gathered evil spirits, and the house was filled with yang qi. If the light was too bright, it would make it difficult for the people living there to control their temper. Anyway, he said a lot of technical terms which made Yang Yuhui stunned. Feng Minghan quickly asked, "Then, what should we do now?" "It's better not to live in this house. Choose another room to live in," the old Taoist said while stroking his white beard. Yang Yuhui couldn't help but frown. He had spent a lot of money to buy this house. How could he not live in it? Money is just a worldly possession. If you still want to live in such a house because of money, you won't live long, the old Taoist said lightly when he saw Yang Yuhui's hesitation. Feng Minghan went to Yang Yuhui's side and persuaded, "Senior brother, you should listen to the old Taoist. You can sell this house." Yang Yuhui could only nod. The old Taoist began to perform the ritual. The scene was quite spectacular. Looking at the old Taoist's pale face, one could tell how difficult it was to fight the evil spirit. In the end, the old Taoist spat out a mouthful of blood and fainted. The old Taoist woke up and wanted to leave. He said that the evil spirit was too powerful and he couldn't deal with it. Yang Yuhui was even more anxious. He directly offered the old Taoist 200,000 yuan. As long as the old Taoist could deal with the evil spirit, he would pay 200,000 yuan. The old Taoist waved his hand without thinking. He packed up his things and left without looking back. Feng Minghan hurriedly chased after him and dragged him back. This time Yang Yuhui gave him 1,000,000 yuan. The old Taoist sighed and said, "This thing is too powerful. Forgive me for not being able to do anything." The old Taoist turned and left again. Feng Minghan looked at Yang Yuhui helplessly. Yang Yuhui's mouth was crooked. He shouted to Feng Minghan, "Chase him." Feng Minghan chased after the old Taoist again. The old Taoist was a little impatient. "What? I said that I can't deal with this thing, so I can't." Yang Yuhui made up his mind. 5 million. Yang Yuhui's heart was bleeding. He wanted to save the money to make a movie. But with his current situation, writing a script and making a movie was a joke. "It's not a matter of money," the old Taoist said with a pale face. Feng Minghan cried and begged the old Taoist, "Please help my senior brother. He's a peerless genius. He shouldn't be like this. Please." Feng Minghan's words evoked Yang Yuhui's depression and panic. Yes, he was a person who wanted to start a big business. How could he be in such dire straits? How could he face the search system in his brain? Yang Yuhui added another 1,000,000 yuan. The total was 6 million yuan. The old Taoist sighed and stayed in the house to recuperate. He said that he would talk about it after he recovered. The old Taoist made a talisman for Yang Yuhui to drink. After a long and difficult exorcism, the old Taoist finally drove the ghost away. The old Taoist took the 6 million yuan from Yang Yuhui and left. Before he left, he even asked Yang Yuhui to sell the house. This house was really inauspicious. Yang Yuhui had been in the business for half of his life. He had plenty of real estate. He didn't listen to the old Taoist and sold the house. Instead, he rented a new house. With 6 million yuan gone, Yang Yuhui's money was gone. Yang Yuhui's heart ached. But when he thought about how his body was going to recover soon, he would be able to earn back the money in the future. But when it was time for school to start, Yang Yuhui's crooked mouth still didn't change. Whenever he opened his mouth, saliva would drip down. Although the thin needle in his wrist had been removed, his hand was still weak. It wasn't convenient for him to do anything. Moreover, Fang Minghan didn't come to take care of him. He finally managed to call Fang Minghan. Fang Minghan apologized over the phone. She said that school had started and she had to go to class. She couldn't take care of Yang Yuhui. She asked Yang Yuhui to find a caretaker to take care of her. Chapter 833. Yang Yuhui listened to Fang Minghan's excuses and instantly realized that he had been deceived. Fang Minghan was the one who suggested that there was something dirty around him. Fang Minghan was also the one who found the Taoist priest. 6 million. 6 million. Fang Minghan was a bitch. She had conspired with others to cheat him of his money. He had trusted her so much. It was not just 6 million. Fang Minghan must have embezzled the money when she sold the script. Yang Yuhui called her again, but he could not get through. Fang Minghan had blocked him. Yang Yuhui was so angry that his whole body trembled. The corner of his mouth was crooked, and he was drooling. In the end, he was so angry that his eyes rolled back and he fainted. When he woke up again, Yang Yuhui felt that half of his body was numb. He really had a stroke. Yang Yuhui could not figure out why he had become like this. He had become disabled, and was betrayed by the woman he trusted. Women were not good people. When he was successful, she would come to him and do whatever he wanted. She was so cheap. Now that he was a little down, this woman turned her back on him. Catching ghosts was useless. Now that he could not move half of his body, Yang Yuhui could only go back to the hospital and continue his treatment. However, Fang Minghan had cheated so much money from him that Yang Yuhui did not have much money left. Every day he spent money like water. Soon there was not much money left in his bank account. Yang Yuhui could only sell his house. Now that Fang Minghan was not around to take care of him, Yang Yuhui was very inconvenient. The nurses could not take care of everything. Now he had a chance to go abroad for treatment. As long as he was cured, he could make a comeback. Yang Yuhui sold a high-end apartment at a low price. Yang Yuhui took the money and went abroad for treatment. Yang Yuhui was also worried that his body would not recover, and he would become a paralyzed person at a young age. If he could not be cured, the money would be enough for him to live for the rest of his life. However, he was not satisfied. He had a mountain of gold, but he could not use it. He was not satisfied that he would be paralyzed for the rest of his life. He had already enjoyed the admiration of others, and the taste of success. If he suddenly lost it, Yang Yuhui was not satisfied. He was not satisfied. As long as he was cured, he could definitely make a comeback. Therefore, Yang Yuhui took the money from the house and went abroad for treatment. Ning Shu, who was at school, realized that Yang Yuhui had disappeared again. She wanted to get closer to Yang Yuhui so that 2333 could destroy the system. On the other hand, Fang Minghan, who lived in the same dormitory, had a few more branded bags and a lot of branded clothes. She was all smiles every day and didn't care about Yang Yuhui at all. Ning Shu just smiled. In the plot, the female lead who was loyal to Yang Yuhui was now plotting against her own boyfriend. She was trying to take advantage of her boyfriend. Ning Shu raised his eyebrows and asked, "Your clothes and bags are the latest and quite expensive. Did Yang Yuhui buy them for you?" "No, I bought it myself. Am I the kind of person who would ask my boyfriend for money?" Fang Minghan said with a straight face. Ning Shu was speechless. He didn't want her, he was lying to her. This was a game of badger. Ning Shu pursed her lips. "Girl, I have a video of you playing badger in my hands. It included the video of him splitting the money with the Taoist priest. Fang Minghan didn't mess with her. If she messed with her and this video was leaked, Fang Minghan might be banned from the entertainment industry before she even debuted. This was a weapon with great lethality. Ningxu didn't think of making this video public. Fang Minghan didn't want to talk about branded clothes. Instead, Ningxu asked, "Your boyfriend doesn't come to school now. He's only in his 3rd year." Ningxu asked, "Why doesn't Yang Yuhui come to school? He's only in his 2nd year." "It's boring talking to you." Fang Minghan took her bag and went to class. Ningxu was speechless. Where should he go to find Yang Yuhui now? Ningxu took his books and went to class. Anyway, he didn't need to write a script now. He just wanted to enjoy his university life. Of course, it would be better if he didn't have Li Xinza as a boyfriend. Every day, he would call and text Li Xinza as if it was his daily routine. Ningxu just wanted to find Yang Yuhui as soon as possible and leave this world. If this continued, Ningxu felt that he would have to break up with her. Feelings were very sensitive. Whether the other party loved him or not, he could feel it. Being in love was a feeling. The feeling of their souls intertwining. Sigh. He just hoped that Li Xinza wouldn't break up with him before he left. Ningxu asked 2333. "Can you locate Yang Yuhui's location?" "No." 2333 said directly. "Then what's the use of you?" Ningxu said indifferently. "I've thought about it, but I can't figure out what you can do." "I already said that I'm a support system." 2333 said. "You're the mission enforcer. You're the leader. Why do you have to rely on me for everything? Are you the mission enforcer, or am I the mission enforcer?" 2333 said angrily. "Oh hee, what a useless system. Then where should I go to find Yang Yuhui? I can't just run around the world." Ningxu said angrily. "Everything is for the mission. There's no need to waste time on this kind of thing. Why don't you start locating the location system? 500,000 points and 5 merit points. Fuck, you're robbing me. 500,000 points and 5 merit points? Why don't you just go die?" Ningxu was willing to pay 500,000 points, but the 5 merit points made Ningxu's heart ache. Sometimes she didn't have any merit points in a world. How could a location system be so expensive? Do you want to exchange? In the future, you can locate whoever you want. It's very convenient. Only 500,000 points and 5 merit points. 2333 said enticingly. Ningxu smiled. Even if she was being cheated until she wanted to cry, she still had to smile and curse. "Exchange. Loading the location system, please wait." Ningxu held his chin and looked at the professor on the podium. Suddenly his phone vibrated. Ningxu took out his phone. It was a message from Li Xinza. The content of the message was that he would come to pick her up for lunch. He had something to tell her. When Ningxu saw that Li Xinza had something to say to him, he suddenly had a bad feeling. So serious. Could it be that he wanted to break up with her? Damn it. At noon, Li Xinza drove to the school gate to pick up Ningxu. He called Ningxu and asked her to come quickly. Ningxu changed into a dress, put on high heels, and put on some lipstick to make her complexion look better. She dawdled to the school gate. Ningxu smiled and looked at Li Xinza. Li Xinza looked at Ningxu from head to toe, opened the car door and said, "Get in." Li Xinza took Ningxu to a high-class Western restaurant. There were candles on the table, a lace tablecloth, and bright red roses in a vase. Li Xinza pulled out a chair for Ningxu. Ningxu kept smiling. So gentlemanly, it shouldn't be about breaking up, right? Chapter 834. Li Xinza took out a rose and handed it over to Ningxu. Ningxu quickly took it, smelled it and said, "It smells so good. It smells so good." Li Xinza. Li Xinza ordered 2 steaks, and the two of them ate quietly facing each other. Ningxu looked at Li Xinza from time to time, and seeing that Li Xinza was about to speak, Ningxu took the lead and said, "How did you deal with Long Shuangshuang's matter?" "I can still deal with it like this." Li Xinza put down his knife and fork, and wiped his mouth. "As long as I tell Long Shuangshuang's father, it won't be Long Shuangshuang's turn to mess around." Ningxu nodded. There was indeed no one following her recently, and now that school had started, it was not easy for some strange people to sneak into the school. Li Xinze looked at Ning Shu and muttered to himself for a moment. He wanted to speak, but was interrupted by Ning Shu. What if Long Shuangshuang finds someone else? That won't happen. For the cooperation of the two companies, Boss Long won't let her mess around. Furthermore, if Long Shuangshuang wants to inherit the Long family, she won't mess around like this. She still has more than 10 brothers who want to inherit the Long family. More than 10 brothers. Ning Shu was a little surprised. Li Xinze said indifferently, "This is only the elder brother, there are still many younger brothers below, and Boss Long has many mistresses. Every child has the right to inherit, it depends on who has the ability to do so," Li Xinze said with a calm expression. Boss Long was really good at giving birth. He had a lot of illegitimate children. In the plot, it seemed like Long Shuangshuang took over the Long family in the end. With Yang Yuhui's help, Yang Yuhui's luck soared to the sky, and as Yang Yuhui's woman, Long Shuangshuang naturally had luck on her body. Right now, Yang Yuhui was too busy to take care of himself, so he naturally wouldn't pay attention to Long Shuangshuang, who was trapped in the Long family's struggle. Since he won't come looking for me, then I'm relieved. Ning Shu heaved a sigh of relief. And Jianan, I think. Ning Shu, Yang Yuhui is nearby. 2333's voice sounded in Ning Shu's mind. Ning Shu quickly stood up and said to Li Xinze, "I have something to do. I'll leave first." Jianan, wait. Hey, Li Xinze whispered to Ning Shu. "I'll be back soon." Ning Shu turned and ran out of the restaurant. He asked 2333, which direction did he go? "Turn left in front," 2333 said. "Hurry up." Ning Shu quickly ran in the direction 2333 told her. She took off her high heels and ran in that direction. Ning Shu quickly caught up with Yang Yuhui. Yang Yuhui sat in a wheelchair and entered a residential area. Because it was inconvenient for him to move around, Yang Yuhui's rented apartment was on the first floor. Yang Yuhui pushed the wheelchair into the apartment with difficulty. Just opening a door took a lot of effort from Yang Yuhui. Although his hands were no longer swollen, they were still weak and powerless. Half of his body was still numb. Right now, Yang Yuhui didn't dare to appear in front of anyone. Even Yang Yuhui himself was disgusted with his current appearance. He didn't even dare to look at other people's eyes. Disdainful and strange looks. Not everyone could bear the loss of falling from a high position. Yang Yuhui even wanted to kill himself. Whenever he spoke, saliva would drip from the corner of his mouth. His hands were weak and half of his body was numb from the stroke. He used the money to buy the apartment to go abroad for treatment. However, he didn't get any treatment at all. His symptoms didn't improve at all. Instead, he spent most of the money from the apartment. Yang Yuhui looked at his money flowing out. Every day, he took some pills with English words written on them. When he went to the toilet, his urine smelled of medicine. Even his sweat smelled of medicine. When the hospital asked Yang Yuhui to pay again, Yang Yuhui decisively left the hospital and returned to China. However, he didn't have much money left on him. Ning Shu looked at Yang Yuhui's back. Yang Yuhui used to have a feeling of lethargy. After all, he had lived for most of his life. In the past, when Yang Yuhui was successful, he felt mature and steady. However, now that he was at the bottom of his life, he felt like he had one foot in the grave. From his back, Ning Shu felt that Yang Yuhui was already 60 years old. After knowing where Yang Yuhui lived, Ning Shu was relieved. She didn't have to look for him all over the world. However, why was Yang Yuhui in a wheelchair? His hands might have some problems, but his legs were fine. Why was he in a wheelchair now? Thinking that Li Xinze was still waiting for her at the restaurant, Ning Shu quickly ran back to the restaurant door. She patted the dust off the soles of her feet and put on her high heels before pushing the door open. However, Li Xinze's seat was empty. She looked around the restaurant but didn't see Li Xinze. Li Xinze was gone. Ning Shu sighed and took out her phone to call Li Xinze. However, she couldn't get through. Li Xinze's phone was turned off. Ning Shu was speechless. Sigh. He was angry again. If he was angry, then so be it. When the system left Yang Yuhui, Her mission would be completed and she would leave this world. She would have nothing to do with Lixinza. Ningxu went back to school. She changed into a pair of jeans and a t-shirt. When she didn't have class, she went to Yang Yuhui's place to wait for the system to leave. Yang Yuhui basically didn't go out. The curtains in his room were closed during the day. There was no movement in the room at all. It was as if no one lived there. After waiting for a few days, Ningxu was getting impatient. She couldn't help but ask 2333. When can I leave? For the past few days, Lixinza had been texting her saying that he had something to tell her. She always said that she was busy and that she would talk about it in a few days. Ever since she left the restaurant, she and Lixinza hadn't seen each other again. Ningxu wanted to leave as soon as possible. This kind of relationship thing was really troublesome to deal with. How would I know when I'll leave? Just wait. 2333 said in a bad mood. Damn, she could wait. However, could Chen Jianan and Lixinza's relationship wait? Why should she wait? Now Lixinza wanted to break up with her. Ningxu waited outside anxiously. In the room, Yang Yuhui was lying on the bed. The light in the room was very dim. Yang Yuhui's face was a little green. The corner of his mouth was crooked and saliva kept dripping down. Yang Yuhui took the handkerchief from the bedside and wiped his mouth. However, he was weak. This action seemed to have used up all his strength. Yang Yuhui's eyes were bright. He was searching for things in his mind. TV scripts, movie scripts, and all kinds of games. These were all treasures. These things could help him succeed. However, he couldn't take them out. Yang Yuhui didn't know where he went wrong. His rebirth life had become so unrecognizable and tragic. In his previous life, he was mediocre. He didn't do anything. He was like a dog that was ordered around by others. However, he was a perfect person. But after his rebirth, he had the system. He couldn't walk. His face was distorted and he couldn't even speak a complete sentence. He was supposed to be a successful person. A person who walked to the peak of life. Chapter 835. Yang Yuhui searched for things in the system over and over again. He watched all kinds of movies and TV series of that world in his mind, and tried to figure them out over and over again. When his body recovered, he would be able to make amazing movies and TV series. He could still be successful. Yang Yuhui searched for successful business cases in that world. In the future, he would definitely start his own company. With such good resources, he would not sell them to others. How did it disappear? Yang Yuhui was shocked. His face was trembling, the corners of his mouth were crooked, and his saliva was dripping onto his clothes. But Yang Yuhui did not care at all. He closed his eyes, and his temples were throbbing. When he opened his eyes, his eyeballs were bloodshot. No, it can't be. Yang Yuhui's expression was extremely shocked. The system in his mind was gone. In the past, when he searched for something, the content would appear clearly in his mind. But now his mind was blank. There was no content. No. Yang Yuhui hugged his head as he collapsed. His system was gone. Without his system, how was he going to turn the situation around? Because of the system, Yang Yuhui was able to survive. It was all his hope. But now that the system was gone, his hope was shattered. There was no chance for him to make a comeback. How could this be? This was impossible. How could the system disappear? How could the system abandon him? Yes, abandoned. Yang Yuhui felt like he was abandoned. Abandoned by the whole world. Yang Yuhui fell off the bed and could not get up. His body spasmed, and white foam came out of his mouth. Yang Yuhui's pupils dilated. He had not made a name for himself, and the system disappeared. Why? Yang Yuhui's body spasmed more and more. His face twisted even more because of it. Ningxu, who was guarding outside, heard 2333's excited voice. It's gone. Ningxu was suddenly energized. What should I do? It's none of your business. 2333 did not say anything else after that. There was a faint sound that sounded like a ripple in the air, as if something had exploded. Ningxu felt his eardrums were very uncomfortable, and goosebumps appeared all over his body. After a while, 2333 said, "It's done. This system is a kind of data. Is it useful to you?" Ning Shu asked. 2333 was silent for a while before he said, "You can optimize my data. I am now a beginner system. There are still intermediate and advanced systems above that. And then there is the super AI. Your system has levels?" Ning Shu asked in surprise. He had never heard 2333 mention this before. "If you can level up, so can we," 2333 said. "Then how can you level up?" Ning Shu asked. 2333 said, "You need to continuously optimize the complete data. You need luck." Ning Shu did not know how the system should evolve. It was not that the system would evolve with her. Ning Shu felt another layer of pressure on her. Now that he had leveled up, 2333 should have leveled up as well. He had become a high-level mission giver, a super mission giver, but 2333 was still a basic support system. It was too embarrassing. "Then, did you get the luck that the system collected?" Ning Shu asked. The system robbed the host of the luck and the rules of heaven and earth. Since 2333 destroyed the system's things should be his. Yes, the luck and the rules of heaven and earth are all mine. 2333 said happily. "Why isn't it mine?" Ning Shu was unconvinced. "It's all data. Can you use it?" 2333 said. "This is between us systems. It has nothing to do with you." Ning Shu. Now that the problem with the system had been solved, Ning Shu turned around and went back to school. After washing up, she lay on the bed and slept comfortably. The problem was finally solved. Yang Yuhui's condition could not be improved. His parents came to take care of the withdrawal procedures and brought the paralyzed Yang Yuhui home. The school was saying that Yang Yuhui had offended someone in the underworld and had his leg chopped off. There were all kinds of rumors. Yang Yuhui had written the lyrics and script. He was a famous person in school. He rose quickly, but fell like a meteor. After that, Yang Yuhui never showed up at school again. Fang Minghan sighed heavily. Now that Yang Yuhui had left, he did not ask her why she lied to him. It meant that Yang Yuhui had not recovered from his illness and could not speak well. She got a few million for free. Ba. Fang Minghan completely forgot about Yang Yuhui. Now there were already management companies that wanted her to be a star. Plus, Yang Yuhui had written a few songs for her. She already had some fans. It would be easy for her to debut. Anyway, Fang Minghan was very proud of her success. Ning Shu just looked at her and didn't say anything. Fang Minghan, Long Shuang, and Yang Yuhui's other women. Without Yang Yuhui, their fates would be different. They would not encounter any problems. Yang Yuhui was like a superhuman who saved them from danger. Those who should be married would be married. Those who should be framed by their siblings would be framed. Those who should be in the entertainment group would be struggling. Although Fang Minghan was proud now, Fang Minghan would never be able to climb to the status she had in her previous life. Without Yang Yuhui as a protective umbrella, Fang Minghan would have to pay a heavy price in the chaotic entertainment circle. Moreover, she had the evidence of Fang Minghan's fraud in her hands. In the storyline, she was loyal to Yang Yuhui and tolerated Li Xinza having so many women because of Yang Yuhui's godlike status in the entertainment circle. No one was more powerful than Yang Yuhui. Fang Minghan was good at currying favor. With Li Xinza's status in the entertainment circle, he would definitely stick to her. With this in hand, when Chen Jianan came back, she would have enough confidence to face Fang Minghan. Mission completed. Do you want to leave the mission world? 2333's voice sounded. Go quickly. Ning Shu hurriedly said. She really could not hold on anymore. As for Chen Jianan's boyfriend, let her worry about it. In the storyline, they could support each other under such difficult conditions. This kind of love would not disappear so easily. Ning Shu felt dizzy. When she opened her eyes again, she was already in the system space. Seeing the familiar furnishings, Ning Shu let out a long breath and wiped the non-existent sweat on her head. It was finally over. Facing Chen Jianan's boyfriend made Ning Shu feel more uncomfortable than facing a scumbag. She would rather face a scumbag than face this kind of person who loved her so much. Every move she made was full of flaws. Ning Shu sat cross-legged on the sofa and silently chanted the clear heart mantra in her heart. Then, she began to cultivate the peerless martial arts and absorb the spiritual energy in the system space to replenish her soul. Chapter 836. After finishing his training, Ning Shu felt refreshed and said to 2333, "Let's take a look at this mission." Okay. 2333's voice was very light, indicating that he had gained something from this mission. He seemed to be in a good mood. Ning Shu's status panel appeared in front of him. Number, 2333. Name, Ning Shu, Intermediate Mission Taker. Age, 27 points. 8153, 500,000 Soul. 300 HP, 71 Wisdom. 254 Charm, 10 Luck. 84 MP, 160 Faith. 1814600 Martial Strength. 172 Qualifications. 79 Merit. 10050-5 Skills. 5th Ring Shooting Technique, Trash Fighting Technique, Beginner Martial Arts, Beginner Poison Technique, Beginner Business Management Knowledge, Beginner Code Programming, Beginner Lawyer Skill, Ghost Catching Skill. Honorary Titles: Goddess of War, Selfless Ancestor Tools. Calm Aura, Faith Aura, Amulet 5, Upgraded Amulet Aura. Mother of the World, Queen's Blessing. Model Worker, Qinshi's Blessing. Leader Aura, Grass Blessing. Best Friend, Miao Miao Miao's Blessing. Life-Saving Hand, Zhu Sunyang's Blessing. Fulfill Qin Jinan's Wish. Let Yang Yuhui have nothing and struggle in the mud forever. Mission completion, 100. Obtain 3. 5 million points, 65 attribute points, 600 faith, 500,000 GPS points, 5 merit points. Ning Shu held his face. What a surprise. 3. 5 million points and 65 attribute points. He thought that because of Li Xinza, the points and attribute points wouldn't be much. He didn't expect it to be more than the previous missions. Ning Shu grinned. Women were indeed petty. He suddenly felt that even if he broke up with Li Xinza, Chen Jianan wouldn't blame her. Chen Jianan was afraid that he would be intimate with her boyfriend. Oh he. Ning Shu added the 65 attribute points to Soul, HP, Wisdom, Luck and Martial Strength. Number, 2333. Name, Ning Shu, Intermediate Mission Taker. Age, 27 points, 11. 15 million Soul, 30010 HP. 7110 Wisdom. 25410 Charm, 10 Luck. 8 for 15 MP, 16010 Faith. 2 for 14 Combat Power. 17210 Aptitude. 79 Merit. 10045 Skills. 5th Ring Shooting Technique, Trash Fighting Technique, Beginner Level Peerless Martial Arts. Beginner Level Poison Technique, Beginner Level Business Management Knowledge, Beginner Level Code Programming, Beginner Level Lawyer Skills, Master Ghost Catching Skills. Honorary Titles: Goddess of War, Selfless Ancestor Items. Calm Halo, Faith Halo, Amulet 5, Upgraded Amulet Halo. Mother of the World, Queen's Blessing. Model Worker, Qinshi's Blessing. Leader Halo, Grass Blessing. Best Friend for a Lifetime, Miao Miao Miao's Blessing. Lifesaver, Zhu Sunyang's Blessing. After adding the attribute points, Ning Shu took out the ultimate martial art. There were many chi diagrams in the ultimate martial art. Many species appeared, and this time there was even a picture of a human. There were stars, suns, moons, grass, trees, rivers, and all kinds of species in the book. A thought suddenly flashed through Ning Shu's mind. Would this book form a world? Ning Shu hurriedly asked 2333, "Do you think my ultimate martial art could form a world?" 2333 pondered for a moment, then said, "It might be possible, but I don't know when it will happen. The formation of a world requires many opportunities. If a book forms a world, how would this world operate? How would the laws of heaven and earth be established?" Ning Shu hugged the book. As long as there was a chance, it would be fine. Maybe in the future, he could find some treasure in the mission world that would help the book evolve into a world. If the ultimate martial art formed a world, this world would belong to her. When she was tired, she could go to the world for a vacation. It was simply too comfortable. Don't be so happy. Whether or not it can form a world is still not certain. 2333 said unhappily. Ningxu didn't care. I already have a good start. Take it slow and I will succeed. Ningxu touched the book cover and placed it on the bookshelf. He couldn't help but lightly pat the book. I will rely on you in the future. With a world that belonged to him, he had one more way out. He felt more secure in his heart when he had something that belonged to him. When his excited mood calmed down a little, Ningxu sat comfortably on the sofa and said to 2333, let's see how Chen Jianan is doing when she returns. A screen appeared in front of Ningxu. When Chen Jianan woke up, she was lying on the bed. Now that it was dawn, the phone on the bedside vibrated. It was a text message from Li Xinza. Li Xinza was waiting for Chen Jianan downstairs. Chen Jianan covered her mouth as tears came down. She changed her clothes and hurried downstairs. Chen Jianan rushed into Li Xinza's arms, and Li Xinza took 2 steps back. I miss you so much. Chen Jianan's voice choked, and her arms tightened. She hugged Li Xinza tightly. Li Xinza's expression was confused for a moment. Only then did he feel that the person hugging him was familiar, the person who loved him. Li Xinza then laughed out loud, hugged Chen Jianan, and stroked Chen Jianan's hair. What's wrong? Why are you crying all of a sudden? Li Xinza's voice was trembling as he looked at Chen Jianan. He scraped it inch by inch very carefully. Chen Jianan wiped her tears. I just miss you so much. That's great. Li Xinza held Chen Jianan's hand and swallowed the words of breaking up. This was the person he loved. Chen Jianan looked at Li Xinza deeply. You're great, really great. Their eyes met, and there was an indescribable affection. Li Xinza lowered his head and kissed Chen Jianan. Looking at the kissing couple on the screen, Ningxu silently swallowed a mouthful of dog food. This was the right way to start a relationship. The couple, who hadn't seen each other for a long time, exploded with unprecedented sweetness. Ningxu curled his lips as he watched. Chen Jianan used the summer vacation to take on roles. Because she had a boyfriend like Li Xinza, although Chen Jianan didn't become the female lead, she still had a lot of scenes. Chen Jianan slowly improved her acting skills, and the opportunities to appear in front of the audience increased. When Chen Jianan graduated, Li Xinza prepared a grand proposal for her. Such a grand scene, a prince, and a dreamy proposal, it was the lifelong wish of all women. Chen Jianan cried tears of joy, and Li Xinza put the ring on her index finger. The two of them hugged and kissed, beautiful and romantic. Ningxu rolled his eyes, and silently swallowed some dog food. I wish you two happiness. The princess and prince will live happily together from now on. Chapter 837. A year after Chen Jianan graduated, she married Li Xinza. The wedding ceremony was very grand. All the political and business celebrities were present. It was a grand occasion. Just looking at it was enough to make people drunk, not to mention Chen Jianan, the female lead. Just this wedding alone was enough to make people talk about it. Yang Yuhui looked at the newlyweds on the television. They looked like they had walked out of a painting. Yang Yuhui drooled and made a chuckling sound. Yang Yuhui's eyes were fixed on the television. The two of them were together again. The wedding was even grander than in his previous life. And he was even worse than in his previous life. In his previous life, he was just a person doing odd jobs on the set. He had no right to attend Chen Jianan's wedding. This life was even worse than in his previous life. He was like a cripple who couldn't move at all. What was the point of his rebirth? God was playing with him, giving him a chance to prosper. He vowed solemnly and was full of confidence, but his hope was extinguished again. Studying until you're paralyzed. A sharp female voice came from outside the house. The whole family is scrimping to study. If you have the money, you might as well eat and drink. Look at how thin your family is. You spent so much money on a fool. Now you have to be supported for the rest of your life. You can't do anything and you're wasting food. When Yang Yuhui heard his sister-in-law's words, his face turned black. His mouth was crooked and his eyes were filled with disgust. He had also given his family more than 100,000 yuan. Why did they despise him for not being able to do anything? Yang Yuhui looked at his house. It was extremely shabby. The television was very small, and the image was blurry. Yang Yuhui's eyes were filled with tears. Living like this was worse than death. But when he was really about to die, Yang Yuhui was terrified. He was reborn once. He didn't know if he could be reborn after death. Would this kind of thing happen to him again? If he could, Yang Yuhui wanted to return to the past. He wouldn't confess to Chen Jianan, who was like a plague. He wouldn't pass by an alley in the middle of the night and be harmed like this. Until now, Yang Yuhui didn't know who harmed him. He didn't even know who to hate. The heavens were unfair. That was why his rebirth was so tragic. Seeing Li Xinze and Chen Jianan get married, Yang Yuhui felt that all the tragic things in the world were concentrated on him. Chen Jianan and Li Xinze were in love during their honeymoon after their marriage. Chen Jianan wanted to continue acting after marriage, but Li Xinze hugged Chen Jianan from behind and said gently, "You just need to be a good Mrs. Li. I don't want you to suffer." Chen Jianan nodded sweetly. Everything in the house was tidied up nicely. From the selection of furniture to the arrangement of flowers, everything was done beautifully. She tried her best to make the house as warm and sweet as possible. Li Xinze always said that he was lucky to have a wife like Jia Nan. Chen Jianan smiled sweetly. When they went out, people always called Chen Jianan Mrs. Li. It seemed that very few people knew Chen Jianan's name. As the Li family's company grew bigger and bigger, Li Xinze's work became busier and busier. Basically, he did not return home for 24 hours a day. Chen Jianan stood at the door waiting for him. She often slept on the sofa until the wee hours of the morning. When she woke up, Li Xinze still hadn't returned. The entertainment news and magazines were all about the entertainment tycoon, Li Xinze, attending various events and bringing that female celebrity to a hotel. Some of it was true, but some of it was just groundless speculation. Chen Jianan felt mentally and physically exhausted. She couldn't help but ask Li Xinze if these things were true, and if he had an ambiguous relationship with that female celebrity. Li Xinze denied it flatly. It was just his job and he was just putting on a show. Li Xinze told Chen Jianan not to think too much. Chen Jianan didn't know whether to believe Li Xinze or not. The entertainment industry was complicated. Maybe a female celebrity wanted to get close to Li Xinze and deliberately made up such news. Chen Jianan loved Li Xinze. In addition, she and Li Xinze had a spectacular wedding. It was so dazzling and happy. Many women were envious. Chen Jianan didn't want her happiness to disappear like this. She had to pretend to be happy, until Fang Menghan called to provoke her and said that she and Li Xinze were at a hotel. The hotel was obvious. When Chen Jianan rushed over, Fang Menghan and Li Xinze were hugging each other on the bed. The reporters who followed Chen Jianan took a big picture. Chen Jianan realized that she was being photographed by the reporters. She closed the door and isolated the reporters outside. Fang Menghan covered her body with the quilt and smiled proudly and provocatively. Li Xinze rubbed his forehead and said softly, "Jianan." "Why?" Chen Jianan asked. Li Xinze didn't say anything. "You are just an old woman," Fang Menghan said with a sneer. Chen Jianan directly pulled the quilt from Fang Menghan's body. Fang Menghan quickly covered her body with her hands. Chen Jianan grabbed Fang Menghan's hair, and the two of them started to fight. Their faces were full of scratches. It was as if they were mortal enemies. They didn't hold back at all. "That's enough. Look at you. Chen Jianan, stop fighting." Li Xinze separated the two of them. Chen Jianan looked at Li Xinze and felt that the man in front of her had become a stranger. Their love in the past was gone. "She stole my husband. I really want to strangle her," Chen Jianan said as she cried. "If you don't know what's good for you, I will divorce you. I don't know what the headlines will be tomorrow," Li Xinze said irritably as he rubbed his forehead. Ningxu was speechless. Ningxu was really hurt by the sudden turn of events. They were able to support each other when they were in trouble, but in peace, their hearts were gradually separated. Li Xinze was a successful man in the entertainment industry. He was surrounded by beautiful women, and these beautiful women even took the initiative to offer themselves to him. The temptation was too great. Whether one could stay true to their heart depended on their will. Marriage was indeed the grave of love. The marriage between a princess and a prince might not be so happy. The prince would find a woman, and the princess would become a shrew. Chen Jianan used all her soul power to change her life, but she didn't expect that she and Li Xinze would end up like this. The next day, the whole world was filled with news about Chen Jianan and Li Xinze. The spectacular wedding of the century had become a joke. Fang Menghan even posted on Weibo that she and Li Xinze were true love. They had liked each other since they were students, and Chen Jianan was the third party. Chen Jianan was so angry that her head was about to explode. She directly released a few videos. They were videos of Fang Menghan cheating Yang Yuhui. The limelight changed. Fang Menghan became a green tea bitch. There were even police reports. These were all past events. Fang Menghan didn't know where Chen Jianan got the videos. She only knew that she was finished. Chen Jianan won the battle. But when she looked at Li Xinze's cold face, her heart turned cold. Chapter 838. This scene became more and more intense. In the end, Li Xinze had to step in and withdraw. She was the main character. This feeling was really unbearable. Li Xinze came home less and less. Their marriage existed in name only. In front of the media, Chen Jianan had to find an excuse for Li Xinze to tell the outside world that their relationship was very good. Chen Jianan swallowed all the bitterness and cried night after night like a resentful wife. Chen Jianan looked at herself in the mirror. She used to be so beautiful, but now she was melancholy and resentful. The corners of her mouth were so heavy that she couldn't smile. Was she going to waste her time like this? Was she going to hate Li Xinze like this? Was she going to tear apart countless women? It was too tiring. Chen Jianan tossed and turned for a few nights. After sorting out her emotions, she smiled and pushed the divorce agreement to Li Xinze. Li Xinze took a look and signed it. Seeing him sign it just like that, Chen Jianan's heart ached. Li Xinze asked Chen Jianan, "What do you want? I can make it up to you." Chen Jianan shook her head and said no need. Chen Jianan took her suitcase and left. She bought a plane ticket that day and went abroad. Abroad, Chen Jianan lived in a small room. Before dawn, she would eat sandwiches and look for roles on set in Hollywood. As long as there was a film that needed a Chinese face, no matter the size of the role, Chen Jianan would act. The hanging wire left marks on Chen Jianan's body. It was so hard that she wouldn't feel sad and self-pity for this failed marriage. Gradually, Chen Jianan received more and more roles. Chen Jianan, who had experienced all kinds of hardships, became more dazzling. When she flipped her hair in front of the camera, she was so beautiful. Even if her face was covered in dust, she was still so beautiful when she held a gun and fought. Her soul-stirring beauty was not the beauty of the face. When time really passed, the pain was actually nothing. People grew up to forget the pain and live for themselves. There was no need to guess where her husband went today. She was not affected by the gossip magazines. Chen Jianan wore a dress that outlined her beautiful figure to the Oscars. On the red carpet, she met Li Xinze. A female star held Li Xinze's arm. The two of them looked at each other. Chen Jianan didn't look away. "How are you?" "I'm good." Chen Jianan was very calm. Without Li Xinze, her life was more exciting. On the podium, Chen Jianan held the trophy and smiled brightly. Li Xinze looked at Chen Jianan. Chen Jianan was so beautiful that it made his heart tremble. She was so mesmerizing. Li Xinze stayed abroad and moved in next door to Chen Jianan. He tried his best to talk to Chen Jianan. Before dawn, he would run in front of Chen Jianan's door, hoping to meet Chen Jianan, who was running. Chen Jianan just looked at Li Xinze indifferently. The worst way to win a man's heart was to be completely obedient. The best way to deal with him was to keep him at arm's length. The best way was to ask for it but not get it. Men were just wretches. Even if Li Xinze were to drink Chen Jianan's foot-washing water, Li Xinze would probably drink it. In this lifetime, Chen Jianan would never marry Li Xinze again. Once a person lost their respect and fear, they would not know how to cherish what they had. Li Xinze's attentiveness didn't affect Chen Jianan at all. Too many outstanding men had made promises to her, But Chen Jianan wouldn't easily entrust herself to others and let others control her destiny. Li Xin's anxiousness had no effect on Chen Jianan at all. It had nothing to do with me. Ning Shu was speechless. He sprained his waist again. Life was really full of twists and turns. Women had self-respect, self-improvement, and self-love. Women had to have their own careers. Only with an independent career could they have an independent personality and dignity. Don't put all your hopes on men. Love was a kind of chemical. After the chemical reaction, love would naturally disappear. How could one love a person deeply day and night without tiring? Ning Shu smacked his lips. Although this pair of true loves had separated, Chen Jianan's life could be considered a reversal. A woman's life wasn't just about marrying a good man. There were other kinds of success. Did a good man really exist? Ning Shu turned off the screen. He felt like he had watched a soul-stirring love story. No, the story of a woman's rise. If Ning Shu had to choose, he would rather live as a Chen Jianan with a free soul. Chen Jianan and Li Xin's marriage, from the beginning, Chen Jianan regressed and became a housewife dependent on Li Xinza. It was a wrong beginning. Ning Shu let out a long breath. He moved his body and took a book from the bookshelf. He heard 2333 say, "Someone sent you a message." Ning Shu raised his eyebrows and opened the chat system. It was a message from number 696, whom he had met in the virtual space before. "There's a collapsed plane repair mission. Do you want to come?" Ning Shu replied, "I'm an intermediate mission. Can I participate?" Ding dong. A message came from the other side. "Yes, you can. Come to the trading hall in the virtual space for the details. The reward is very rich. There's a lot of merit points for repairing collapsed planes." Ning Shu thought about it. He had always been a solo player. It would be good to meet some people this time. Now he had 10 million points. With another 10 million points, he could be promoted to a high-level mission taker. He could go to a high-level plane to collect resources that could make his secret book grow into a plane. If he didn't know something, he could ask others. Every time he asked the silver-haired man, he would be slaughtered. Ning Shu asked 2333, "What's the danger of a collapsed plane? You want to do this kind of mission?" 2333's voice was a little doubtful. "This kind of plane is very dangerous. The plot is very chaotic. You receive a plot. Maybe what happens in the plane is thousands of miles away from the plot you received." Ning Shu was speechless. However, Ning Shu still decided to give it a try. He exchanged for fasting pills, water, some basic medicine, and antidote pills from the system store. Thinking that this was a group mission, Ning Shu doubled the amount of fasting pills and water. Taking a deep breath, Ning Shu said, "Let's go to the virtual space." To be honest, Ning Shu was a little nervous to do a mission with other mission takers. After a moment of weightlessness, Ning Shu was already standing on the blue stone. "I wonder where the trading hall is?" Ning Shu wanted to ask someone. "Didn't you activate the GPS? 5 points of merit points are free?" 2333 said. "Oh right, I forgot about the GPS." A little red dot appeared in Ning Shu's mind and told him how to get there. Ning Shu successfully arrived at the entrance of the trading hall. The trading hall was very big. The building was majestic and majestic. It was filled with a strong aura that made people hold their breath. There were people coming and going in the trading hall. Some people's souls were weak, some people's souls were solid. The aura on them was very strong. Chapter 839. There were people trading things in the trading hall. They were all strange things. Ning Shu learned from books that these were all good stuff. Ning Shu realized that he didn't have anything good. It was nothing compared to these people. But he had a spirit pearl. The spirit pearl was good stuff. Ning Shu didn't plan on exchanging it with others. 2333 over here. Mei Ziqing leaned against a pillar in the hall and waved at Ning Shu. Ning Shu lowered his head and pretended not to see her. 2333. Ning Shu, he hated this number. Ning Shu walked slowly towards Mei Ziqing. "Let's go upstairs." Mei Ziqing walked in front and Ning Shu followed behind her. The mission this time is about a high-level plane evolving into a superplane. The laws are in chaos, Mei Ziqing said to Ningxu. There are a few people on this mission. When they ask for your name, just say your number. For example, my number is 696, Mei Ziqing said to Ningxu. Ningxu nodded. He was depressed. Her number. Mei Ziqing opened the door to a room. As soon as she opened the door, she heard an argument inside. Aren't you here for that person? It's just a plane repair mission. You came when you knew she was coming, a man said. He didn't look outstanding and his face was full of disdain. This disdain was obviously directed at the woman sitting opposite him. This woman was extremely beautiful. Her every move was elegant, and her eyes were stunning. She was wearing an exquisite ancient costume with long sleeves. Her hair was slightly tied up, and there was no jewelry on her body. She was ethereal and beautiful. It felt like no jewelry in the world was good enough for her. Ningxu's eyes were glued to her. Beautiful, really beautiful. But she was very angry now. Her aura was strong. She said to the man coldly, "What do you mean? It's just a small conflict in the mission. Do you have to hold a grudge for so long?" The man's face was filled with disdain. "I don't talk to bitches. What are you talking about? Watch your mouth. I'm a super mission enforcer, and you're just a little high-level mission enforcer," the woman said with a frown. Even when she was angry, she was still very beautiful. "Oh, a super prostitute who deceives her body, life and heart," the man said fearlessly. All right, stop arguing," someone at the side advised. Ningxu, why was there such a fiery scene as soon as he entered? It seemed that the grudge between the two of them was not small. Mei Ziqing led Ningxu in. The four people in the room looked at Ningxu and Mei Ziqing. After looking around, Ningxu's gaze finally stopped on a man. He really wanted to turn around and leave. Fuck, why is Zhang Jiasun here? Why? Zhang Jiasun saw Ningxu and smiled at her. What a coincidence. Seeing Zhang Jiasun's fake smile, Ningxu expressed that she did not want to play with Zhang Jiasun. Do you know each other? Mei Ziqing asked. Ningxu shook her head. No. We do. Ningxu rolled her eyes. Let me introduce you. The people in the room are mission enforcers. This is 496, a super mission enforcer. Mei Ziqing's gaze landed on the woman in ancient clothes. Hello. 496 just nodded his head indifferently. This is 2333, an intermediate mission enforcer. Mei Ziqing introduced Ningxu. 2333. The man who had a conflict with 496 could not help but laugh. Your number is not bad. Ningxu's mouth twitched. Thank you. If not for the fact that I can't beat you, I would have beaten you up long ago. Mei Ziqing introduced everyone in the room one by one, and finally introduced Zhang Jiasun. This is a beginner mission enforcer, 6457. Zhang Jiasun smiled and said, Hello. Hello. Ningxu said lightly. So Zhang Jiasun was a beginner mission enforcer. Ningxu sat beside Mei Ziqing. The room was quiet and no one spoke. Ningxu also kept his mouth shut. Feeling that someone was looking at him, he turned his head and saw Zhang Jiasun looking at him and winking. Ningxu turned his head expressionlessly, ignoring Zhang Jiasun. He whispered to Mei Ziqing, why can super mission enforcers and beginner mission enforcers participate in this mission? Actually, the roles are assigned differently. For example, if 496 went, she would be the main character, and we would all be supporting characters. According to the roles of the supporting characters, we would be assigned different levels. Ningxu nodded. For someone like her, she was probably a passerby. Are we still waiting for someone? The atmosphere in the room was not good. Everyone was silent. How could they complete the mission with this kind of relationship? Yes, we are still missing one, Mei Ziqing said. Gotcha. The door handle turned. The female super mission enforcer was the first to stand up, staring at the door. The others also stood up. When Ningxu saw that they had all stood up, she quickly stood up as well. The door slowly opened. A man in black stood in front of the door. His legs were very long, making the door look shorter. The corners of his black windbreaker fluttered slightly. Ningxu was speechless. I don't want to do this mission. Zhang Jiasan aside. Why is there a school doctor uncle too? The uncle looked around the room and finally stopped at 496, the super mission enforcer. You don't meet the requirements for this mission. You don't have to go. I can do it. This world is about to evolve into a super realm. It is already a super realm, but the realm is unstable, 496 hurriedly said, her expression anxious. Let me go. You come and wipe the chair. The uncle looked at Ning Shu and pointed at the chair beside him. Wipe it clean. Ning Shu was speechless. Can't I wipe it myself? Everyone in the room looked at Ning Shu. Mei Ziqing elbowed Ning Shu. Go and wipe it clean. Feeling everyone's probing gazes, Ning Shu wanted to die. Ning Shu pinched his sleeves and wiped the chair with all his might. Then he stood aside without a change in expression. The uncle sat down and said coldly, "This mission is very dangerous. You will die. You may die several times in a row. If you don't want to go now, you can back out." Ning Shu heard the word death. What the hell is this? I don't have many protective talismans. Otherwise I won't go. Ning Shu raised his hand. Just as he was about to speak, Zhang Jiasan said, "Let's go together." Ning Shu, fuck off. I don't know you at all. The school doctor looked at Ning Shu indifferently. You're not going? Ning Shu was about to nod when Mei Ziqing nudged him. Ning Shu turned to look at Mei Ziqing. Mei Ziqing shook his head. Ning Shu was speechless. Fuck, can't you talk nicely? Ning Shu retracted his hand and said calmly, "My arm hurts." Mei Ziqing heaved a sigh of relief. Ning Shu frowned. What's going on? Chapter 840. The super mission enforcer kept looking at Ning Shu, frowning. Ning Shu said, "Do you not want to go? If you don't want to go, tell us now. We can find someone else." Could she really? Ning Shu was about to speak when Mei Ziqing poked her again. Ning Shu immediately said, "I want to go." "Don't force yourself if you don't want to go," the super mission enforcer said. The super task enforcer said. Her voice was so pleasant that even Ning Shu felt her heart go numb when she heard it. She was a beauty in a painting. She was natural and elegant. She was so beautiful that it was difficult to describe her. Just looking at such beauty would make people feel comfortable. Everyone liked beautiful things. I think she's suitable. You can come with us, the man who had a conflict with the super mission enforcer said to Ning Shu. He was purposely angering the super mission enforcer. Ning Shu saw that everyone in the room was looking at her. She couldn't back down now. If she really left, it would be awkward to meet these people in the future. Especially Mei Ziqing, who brought her here. Ning Shu shook her head. I'm not forcing you. I'm just afraid that I'll drag everyone down. The uncle pushed up his gold-rimmed glasses. You deserve to be killed if you're not strong enough. Just worry about yourself. It has nothing to do with the others. Ning Shu. What did he mean? Shouldn't everyone help each other? She didn't want to go. Let's start the mission. The uncle was the first to disappear, and the heavy atmosphere in the room immediately dissipated a lot. The atmosphere relaxed a little. Ning Shu wiped away her cold sweat and whispered to Mei Ziqing, "Who is this person? I heard that he's the first batch of mission enforcers. It's as if he's been here since the existence of this dimension." Mei Ziqing patted her chest. He has the right to kill ordinary mission enforcers. Damn, the uncle was older than she thought. After the uncle left, the super mission enforcer disappeared too. She had entered the mission. Everyone in the room disappeared. Mei Ziqing said, "You should enter the mission too." With that, Mei Ziqing disappeared. Only Ning Shu and Zhang Jiasan were left in the room. Zhang Jiasan asked, "Do you hate me?" "Yes." Ning Shu nodded and said to 2333 in his mind, "Enter the quest." Ning Shu disappeared from the room. Zhang Jiasan pursed his lips and disappeared as well. The previously crowded room was now empty. Ning Shu felt that he was entering a body, but he couldn't fuse with it for a long time. This was the first time Ning Shu had encountered such a situation. After squeezing into his body with great difficulty, Ning Shu opened his eyes and saw the mottled ceiling. There were also some traces of water soaking. Ningxu looked left and right. There were a few girls lying on the big Kong bed, sleeping soundly. Ningxu couldn't help but wrap himself in the blanket. He felt the chill seeping into his bones and the howling cold wind outside the window. Ningxu was shivering from the cold. He sniffled and began to accept the plot. This body was called Tang Shimin, and she was a second-year student. She was a member of the Chinese Art Society. During the winter break, more than 30 members of the Chinese Art Society gathered together. They said that they were going to a remote mountain village. In the end, all of the students died mysteriously. Everyone died, but no one knew who the murderer was. Moreover, everyone seemed to be trapped here. After they died, everything would start over again. And then everyone would die again. Moreover, the way they died was different from the first time. The way they died was different every time. But they still couldn't find the murderer. No one knew who the murderer was. The second time everyone died again. It was an endless loop, and they were trapped here. It was like a movie. It played over and over again, but the content was different. So the mission this time was to end this endless game of death. Ningxu sniffled. She was thinking about who could be the murderer. The first person she suspected was the president of the Chinese Art Society. Who would freeze someone to death in such a cold weather? There was snow everywhere. Why would he come to such a remote place to collect wind? Ningxu was thinking in his heart. A girl sleeping next to him whispered to Ningxu, "Is it a mission enforcer?" "Yes," Ningxu quickly replied. 696. Mei Ziqing said. 2333. Mei Ziqing smiled to Ningxu. "The two of us are really fated." Ningxu asked Mei Ziqing, "Have you accepted the plot? If we can't complete this mission, are we going to be stuck here forever?" "Yes, that's very likely." Mei Ziqing couldn't help but rub his forehead. Ningxu had encountered such a situation before. Mu Yanluo, who was the female lead of the novel, had been reborn over and over again. She had been reborn 3 times. But in this farmhouse, she had to start over and over again. This is so dangerous. Ningxu was a little apprehensive. She had almost been replaced by Mu Yanluo's reincarnation. Mei Ziqing sighed and whispered, "It can't be helped. I've been stuck as a high-level mission enforcer for a long time. This mission will give me a lot of merit points." Ningxu was bitter. If she knew it would be so dangerous, she wouldn't have come. She was only a mid-level mission enforcer. She thought that it would be easier to complete a mission in a group. She didn't expect it to be like this. "Wake up for breakfast." There was a knock on the door, followed by a man's voice. Ningxu couldn't help but wrap herself in the blanket. It was so cold to wake up. 2333. Wake up. Don't be alone. Mei Ziqing said to Ningxu and went to call the other students. Every time Ningxu heard 2333, she felt helpless. It felt like she was calling the system in her head. My body is called Tang Shimin. I'm Li Yuan, Mei Ziqing said. Wake them up. Ningxu pushed the student next to her and sat up. She picked up the woolen sweater and down jacket on the blanket and put them on. Ningxu was already dressed, but the girl next to her still didn't move. She didn't even make a sound, nor did she respond to her. Ningxu suddenly had a bad feeling in her heart. She slowly reached out and turned her body around. She met a pair of eyes that were wide open. The pupils of the eyes were dilated as if they were about to pop out of their sockets. A brush was stuck in the other eye. Half of it was buried in the eye socket. Black and red blood mixed with grayish-white substances flowed out. The blood had already dried, indicating that she had been dead for a while. Ningxu's heart skipped a beat. She covered her mouth and stared at the girl with wide eyes. Did that mean she had been lying next to a corpse for a long time? She had been given such a big shock as soon as she entered the realm. The other girls in the room screamed when they saw this horrifying scene. Their screams rose and fell one after another. Mei Ziqing frowned and checked the condition of the corpse. Ningxu reached out and touched the corpse. The skin was still soft. It was probably under the blanket and kept warm. The corpse wasn't hard, but it was dead. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.